What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
8MP. Chapter 151. Excessive Hinamori Momo, 2x. Asakura's eyes lit up and continued, that's right. Since Qian Ye is your classmate in the same class, why don't you find an opportunity? You take me to ask him for advice. I think Qian Ye must have some special skills to become stronger, otherwise not maybe in such a short period of time, the strength has become so strong. Kuchiki Egret. Qian Ye is a genius. His talent for cutting fists and moving ghosts was notoriously high at the time. How can he have any special skills to become stronger? Asakura said. You haven't asked again, how do you know if it's not? Actually, Asakura really guessed right, Qian Ye does have special skills to become stronger. It's just that this special technique is only useful to Qian Ye himself, others can't learn it at all. 8th Division. Aizen Naneo finds Kiraku Shunsui who hides on the roof and drinks. Master Jing, don't you deal with work today? Kiraku Shunsui said, but now we still have to continue to defend Saraiti. Aizen Naneo was a little angry and said, when will you plan to start the work, Bandmaster Kyo? Kiraku Shunsui said, after the travel accident is resolved, I will make a good job on October 23rd. When Aizen Naneo sees Kiraku Shunsui using the travel accident as an excuse, he also has nothing to do with Kiraku Shunsui. Seeing Aizen Naneo glaring at him, Kiraku Shunsui said coquettishly, Naneo-chan, I won't lie to you this time. After the travel accident is over, I will definitely take the work accumulated over these days as soon as possible. All my mouth gas has been processed. Aizen Naneo gave Kiraku Shunsui a glance, obviously not believing Kiraku Shunsui's promise at all. Kiraku Shunsui did not know how many times he assured her, and how many times he broke his promise. Aizen Naneo did not force Kiraku Shunsui to start processing work today, but Aizen Naneo took out a black file from the file he was holding and handed it to Kiraku Shunsui. The rest of the work can be dealt with later, but you have to read this document that the team just sent, Band Leader Beijing today. Kiraku Shunsui stared at Aizen Naneo vigilantly, thinking that Aizen Nano was putting him off. After reading a document, there will be another one soon. Really only this one? Huh. Aizen Naneo took off his glasses and kicked Kiraku Shunsui with a terrible expression. Kiraku Shunsui hurriedly took the file. He knew that every time Aizen Naneo took off his glasses and stared at him like this, he was really angry. After Kiraku Shunsui finished reading the contents of the file, he closed the file and said with a smile, Ah, Qian Ye is really a double harvest for his love career. It's not in vain that I secretly helped him many times, ha ha ha. Aizen Naneo, who put his glasses back on, looked at Kiraku Shunsui speechlessly. Captain Beijing, do you really think Qian Ye and Captain Ujiha will be happy together? Kiraku Shunsui said, why can't I be happy? The age difference between Captain Qian Ye and Yuo Zihua. Kiraku Shunsui interrupted Aizen Naneo and said, Naneo-chan, is age a problem for Shinigami? Qian Ye is the youngest back I have seen for so many years, and I can see the flower of the egg. It was interesting to Qian Ye for a long time, and Mao Zihua should get her happiness too. Aizen Naneo opened his mouth to say something, but was interrupted again by Kiraku Shunsui. Naneo-chan, when you find your own happiness, you will understand. The outskirts of Saraiti, Komamura Sajin stood in front of a tomb with a simple wooden stele, and looked at the direction of the 5th Division's defense area. The old man really didn't misunderstand the person. After Komamura Sajin finished speaking, the eyes under the mask were lonely. Tusen, what if you were still in Saraiti? Komamura Sajin still couldn't let go of Tusen Kanami. Fancying that Tusen Kanami can turn his head back in time and return to Saraiti. The 11th Division. Zaraki Kenpachi had no response to Qian Ye's promotion to the official captain. Kusajishi Yakiru was self-consciously excited for a while. Shinigami of Madarame Makaku's 11th Division is the most excited. Madarame Makaku thought of his past disputes with Qian Ye, and laughed. Ha ha ha. Qian Ye is worthy of my uncle's opponent. Ayasagawa Yumashika said. One corner, don't you be ashamed, okay. You are not Qian Ye's opponent at all. Madarame Makaku snorted coldly. Huh, this uncle has at least been an opponent with Qian Ye. It is not shameful for this uncle to lose to the captain as the 3rd seat, but you, not only is not this uncle's opponent, but you are not even qualified to be Qian Ye's opponent. It's really shameful. Ayasagawa Yumashika glared at Madarame Makaku. What did you say? Madarame Makaku glared back unceremoniously. What's wrong with saying you are ashamed? Ayasagawa Yumashika. Bald boy, do you want to fight? Dare you call me a bald boy? What's wrong with calling you a bald boy? A bald boy, a bald boy. Puff. Madarame Makaku suddenly punched Ayasagawa Yumashika. Then, Madarame Makaku fought with Ayasagawa Yumashika. The other Shinigami of the 11th Division not only did not stop, but clapped and applauded. The 12th Division. After learning that Qian Ye was promoted from acting captain of the 5th Division to the official captain of the 5th Division, there was no response. The 13th Division. Jashiro Yukitaki was thinking about it, waiting for the end of the travel disaster. He wants to personally congratulate Qian Ye. After learning the news, Kyoraku Shunsui and other team captains were surprised by 533, but they were not too shocked. After all, it seems to Kyoraku Shunsui and others that Qian Ye's turning into a positive is a matter of time, but it's just a matter of time. Certainly, Qian Ye can be promoted so quickly, it is indeed out of the accident of Kyoraku Shunsui and other captains. The 10th Division. When Hinamori Momo heard the news, she bit her own lips. Obviously, her reaction to Qian Ye's promotion to official captain was the most extreme. When Hitsugaya Toshiro saw this, he said distressedly, "Dao, in fact, Qian Ye is not the kind of person you think. Toshiro, do you also think that Captain Aizen is really a villain who betrays Soul Society and wants to endanger Soul Society?" Hitsugaya Toshiro said, "Peach, this is not a question of how I feel, but a fact. Aizen Sōsuke has indeed betrayed the Soul Society, and he is planning a big conspiracy that will endanger the entire Soul Society." Hinamori Momo exclaimed with excitement, "I don't believe that Captain Aizen is such a person. Captain Aizen must be forced. Maybe Qian Ye had been the captain of the 5th Division a long time ago, so he used various methods. Forced Captain Aizen to leave Soul Society. Dao, what do you think? Aizen Sōsuke is your problem, but if you question Qian Ye's words, don't say it lightly." Chapter 152, Toshiro. Swear to kill Aizen. 3x. Advertise here. Even if Qian Ye becomes the official captain of the 5th Division team, he won't get my approval. I hate him. It was he who forced my Captain Aizen away. Hinamori Momo's eyes are full of paranoia. In my heart, the captain of the 5th Division will always be the captain of Aizen. Peach you. Hey. Hitsugaya Toshiro looked at Hinamori Momo's unreasonable appearance, and sighed deeply in his heart, before secretly swearing. Aizen Sōsuke, you poisoned the peach like this, I will not let you go. Aizen Sōsuke, when we meet next time, Hitsugaya Toshiro must kill you. This is the first time Hitsugaya Toshiro has such a strong murderous intent on a person. Hitsugaya Toshiro is different from Qian Ye. Confronting Hinamori Momo's feelings for Aizen Sōsuke. Qian Ye felt that Hinamori Momo was mainly stupid. Although Aizen Sōsuke deceived Hinamori Momo, if Hinamori Momo was not so stupid, it would not be so. And, Hitsugaya Toshiro put all the responsibility on Aizen Sōsuke. Hifagaya Toshiro believes that Aizen Sōsuke is the reason why Hinamori Momo has become like this. Now Hitsugaya Toshiro regrets the last thing in his heart. That is, after he became the captain of the 10th Division, he didn't try every means to transfer Hinamori Momo from the 5th Division to his 10th Division. Hitsugaya Toshiro looked aside, still chanting Hinamori Momo who hated Qian Ye. He knew that Hinamori Momo was so badly hurt by Aizen Sōsuke, no matter what he said, Hinamori Momo couldn't listen. Hitsugaya Toshiro was afraid that Hinamori Momo would not think about it, so he went to seek revenge from Qian Ye or something. So he decided to say hello to Qian Ye after the accident was over. Hitsugaya Toshiro hoped that Qian Ye would understand Hinamori Momo and not be too careless with Weisentao. When Qian Ye was promoted to the official captain, the general Shinigami of the first team was in charge of the news to the various teams. However, Qian Ye's 5th Division team is an exception. Chojiro Sasaki personally went to the 5th Division at this time. When Chojiro Sasaki came to the 5th Division defensive area, Qian Ye was lying on a deck chair. Yep, Qian Ye fell asleep on the recliner. When Chojiro Sasaki saw this, not only was he not angry, but he felt a little relieved in his heart. According to Chojiro Sasaki, Qian Ye listened to the command that the captain let him personally convey, and he really stayed in the 5th Division defensive area without running around. However, Chojiro Sasaki didn't know that Qian Ye was too tired from the battle last night. At this time, he is replenishing his energy and is ready to find a chance to fight with Unohana Retsu again. As for the deputy captain of the 5th Division, Matsumoto Rangaku, at this time, he did not know where he was going. Yamada Hanadoro saw Chojiro Sasaki coming, and came over timidly. Vice Captain Chojiro Sasaki, hello. Chojiro Sasaki said, help me wake up your captain. Okay, wait a minute. Yamada Hanadoro went to Qian Ye to wake up, and Qian Ye sensed Chojiro Sasaki's Reiatsu when he woke up. Therefore, Qian Ye did not ask Yamada Hanadoro why he woke him up, but just stood up and looked at Chojiro Sasaki. Vice Captain Chojiro Sasaki, why are you free to come to me? Chojiro Sasaki didn't rush to explain his reason, but smiled and joked. Captain Qian Ye seems to be very idle. Hey, it's quite idle. A string of black lines appeared on Chojiro Sasaki's head, and Qian Ye sighed honestly. Even when Kyoraku Shunsui was lazy and caught, he would haha. Chojiro Sasaki knows Qian Ye's work attitude and how to manage the 5th Division team. Of course, this is not a small report from the 5th Division. It was a secret investigation by a team of people. The secret investigation of Qian Ye by the 1st Division began when Qian Ye took over the acting captain of the 5th Division. After all, the captain needs to know whether Qian Ye is qualified for the role of captain. Qian Ye's strength has reached the captain level, it does not mean that Qian Ye can really be a good captain. After a team of investigations on Qian Ye all the time, Chojiro Sasaki was also speechless after seeing various investigation structures. It was the first time he met such an irresponsible captain. However, even though Qian Ye doesn't care about anything, all operations of the 5th Division are in order. Although it was done by Yamada Hanadoro, it was also Qian Ye's management method. For this reason, Chojiro Sasaki also praised Qian Ye in front of the captain. N1 know people and make good use of. Chojiro Sasaki said. Captain Qian Ye, I want to congratulate you. Now it was Qian Ye's turn to be stunned. Congratulations. Chojiro Sasaki nodded. Captain Qian Ye, the newly appointed captain, decided to promote you from the position of acting captain of the 5th division to the official captain of the 5th division. Oh, that's it. Chojiro Sasaki saw that Qian Ye didn't have any surprises or joy on his face. There were some small surprises. However, after Chojiro Sasaki thought about it carefully, he was relieved. For Qian Ye, who can be so irresponsible as an acting captain? Qian Ye regards himself as the acting captain of the 5th division or the official captain of the 5th division. It seems, it really doesn't make much difference. After all, normally, once a person becomes the acting captain, he will perform well in order to become a regular person as soon as possible. How can Qian Ye be like this, after becoming the acting captain, all sorts of stealing and slipping, not to mention all kinds of troubles? No, Qian Ye and Zaraki Kenpachi had a big fight before, and even the team leader Yamamoto Modonyasasai Shigekuni came forward in person. Qian Ye did not respond to the appointment of being promoted to the official captain of the 5th division. On the contrary, a system prompt sounded in Qian Ye's mind. You become the official captain of the 5th division team, and you will receive Li Haojiao hidden event reward, spiritual power plus 100. Chojiro Sasaki suddenly came to Qian Ye's side, using a voice that only Qian Ye could hear, whispering. Captain Qian Ye, this is a decision made by the captain after thinking about it all night. After Qian Ye heard the news, there was a trace of caution on his face. Isn't it just being promoted from acting captain to official captain? When Qian Ye became the acting captain, it was only a meeting of captains that lasted less than an hour, and the topic that was finally brought up by the way was confirmed. This time Qian Ye was promoted from acting captain to official captain, but he needed Yamamoto Genryujai to think about luck all night. Qian Ye thinks this is definitely not simple. But Qian Ye couldn't think of why Yamamoto was so cautious. Since he couldn't think of it, Qian Ye didn't take it too seriously. No matter what Yamamoto Motoyanajisai Shigekuni means, he will always know in the future. Chapter 153. Travel Disaster Reappeared, 1x. Advertise here. Although Qian Ye couldn't think of why Yamamoto was so prudent, he got to Chojiro Sasaki and whispered the news to him. Qian Ye smiled and said to Chojiro Sasaki, Thank you Chojiro Sasaki, please convey to the captain for me, saying that I will work hard and will not live up to his expectations. Chojiro Sasaki smiled and nodded, Captain Qian Ye, I must tell the captain for you. It seems that Qian Ye is still quite on the road. The reason why Chojiro Sasaki reminded Qian Ye in a low voice was to let Qian Ye understand. Qian Ye's promotion to the official captain this time was not as easy as he thought. I hope Qian Ye can take it seriously. Chojiro Sasaki had already turned around and was about to leave, but suddenly stopped and turned around. By the way, Captain Qian Ye, I have a question personally, I don't know if Captain Qian Ye can answer it. Deputy Captain Chojiro Sasaki, just ask if you have anything, I will definitely answer if I know. Qian Ye was also curious about what personal questions Chojiro Sasaki could have, and wanted to ask him. Why did you choose the 5th division at the time? Qian Ye was also curious about what question Chojiro Sasaki wanted to ask, but it turned out to be this. Why choose the 5th division? In fact, Qian Ye himself didn't know what to say, so Qian Ye 537 told the answer at the captain meeting after Aizen defected to Soul Society. At that time, I happened to sit in the position of Aizen Sōsuke, the former captain of the 5th division, so I chose the 5th division among the 3 teams left in the air. Oh, is that really the case? Chojiro Sasaki obviously didn't believe Qian Ye's answer. Qian Ye smiled. Whether Chojiro Sasaki believed it or not, Qian Ye didn't explain it anymore. Although Chojiro Sasaki didn't believe Qian Ye's answer, he did not continue to ask. Instead, he turned and left the 5th division defensive area and went back to the 1st division. After Chojiro Sasaki left, Shinigami of the surrounding 5th division team all gathered towards Qian Ye. Captain Qian Ye, congratulations. Congratulations, Captain Qian Ye. Captain Qian Ye, you are now the youngest captain of the Soul Society. The honor of the youngest captain of Soul Society was originally from Hitsugaya Toshiro. Now, it naturally fell on Qian Ye's head. Qian Ye said, Now the travel accident has not ended. Everyone should guard their own posts. After the travel accident is over, ICDEJ will hold a big party. Captain, do you have a treat? Qian Ye looked at Yamada Hanadoro and asked, Our 5th division, do you have money for a big party? Each squad has its own reserves, so Qian Ye asks that. Yamada Hanadoro replied, Yes, but the money is used. It's fine if you have it, and I'll leave it to you to arrange it then. The Shinigami of the 5th division are all cheering, Captain Qian Ye is so nice. Yamada Hanadoro looked at the excitement of his companions, and it was hard to speak again. Okay, let's go back to their respective guard posts first. After the Shinigami of the 5th division left excitedly, Qian Ye patted Yamada Hanadoro on the shoulder. Hanadoro, You have been working hard these days, so I take this opportunity to relax. Thank you, Captain Qian Ye. Well, go ahead. After half an hour. Matsumoto Rangaku, who didn't know where to go shopping before, is back. Captain Qian Ye, congratulations, you have been promoted to the official captain. Obviously, the reason why Matsumoto Rangaku ran back was when he was playing outside and learned that Qian Ye was promoted from acting captain to official captain. Qian Ye gave a white look, he was more lazy than him, and his deputy captain Matsumoto Rangaku gave him a look. What's the congratulations on this? Matsumoto Rangaku has a sly look on his face. Isn't this worthy of congratulations? Qian Ye lay down on the reclining chair. Rangaku, do you see how I am now promoted to the official captain? Is there any difference from before? A string of black lines appeared on Matsumoto Rangaku's head. Although Qian Ye's position has changed from acting captain of the 5th division to the captain of the 5th division. But, Matsumoto Rangaku also found that Qian Ye seemed to be no different from before. Matsumoto Rangaku was a little embarrassed. Well, it seems that there is really nothing to congratulate. By the way, after I heard that the travel accident, our 5th division will hold a big party, is it true? While playing, don't disturb my sleep. Qian Ye yawned as he said, then closed his eyes. Matsumoto Rangaku looked at Qian Ye with a little suspicion. Qian Ye seems very tired today. Haven't seen Qian Ye's life like this before. Could it be Qian Ye last night? What Matsumoto Rangaku didn't know was that she guessed it right this time. Then Captain Qian Ye, I won't bother you. Seraiti spent this day safely again. Until the next morning. The next morning, the whole Seraiti sounded sirens, and the Shinigami of the first team used Kido to issue a notice to the Gotei 13 defensive area in Seraiti. Attention to all teams. Attention to all teams. The traveler Kurosaki Ichigo appeared in the Seraiti city. Please be sure to guard your defense zone. Special attention. Special attention. Shihuin Yoruichi, the former captain of the 2nd division who defected 110 years ago, also appeared in the Jingling Tingcheng district. Please Shinigami below the captain level, after seeing Shihuin Yoruichi, try to escape and not fight with him, and then report to Saifeng Yoruichi. Position, waiting for the captain to go to deal with it. Attention to all teams. Attention to all teams. The traveler Kurosaki Ichigo appeared in the Seraiti city. Please be sure to guard your defense zone. Special attention. Special. As the sirens kept ringing, the Seraiti district became lively. The Shinigami who were originally bored in the defense zone of each team. It was all tense at this time. Kurosaki Ichigo, the young traveler who disappeared 2.5 days ago, finally appeared, and he also appeared with him, and the former 2nd division captain Shihuin Yoruichi. Although Yoruichi defected to Soul Society 110 years ago. But her name, Shinigami of Gotei Shisanban, is no stranger to her. Whether it is the head of the Shihuin family, one of the 4 nobles. Still the captain of the original 2nd division. Or the title of Flash Goddess. All show that Shihuin Yoruichi is not easy. A team. Yamamoto Motoyanagi Sai Shigekuni. Is Yoruichi planning to attack Seraiti? Shojiro Sasaki asked. Captain, do I need to send a captain over? Chapter 154. Smashed B. Qian Ye, can you do me a favor? 2x. Advertise here. Shojiro Sasaki means that Yoruichi is very strong. Choose 1 or more captains to target Yoruichi. Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saiju National Road. I think a certain captain has already left after hearing the news of Yoruichi's appearance. Shojiro Sasaki knew right away, he naturally knew who the captain of Yamamoto Motoyasasai Shigekuni referred to. But, Shojiro Sasaki still had some worries in his heart. That is 1. Can Broken Bee really deal with Yoruichi, who exists like her original master? The 5th division defensive area. After Qian Ye learned that Kurosaki Ichigo and Yoruichi had appeared, he was still lying on his recliner, and had no plans to leave the 5th team. The Shinigami of the 5th division was relieved to see that Qian Ye did not run around. After all, this time the opponent but Yoruichi. If Qian Ye is not there, the Shinigami gods of the 5th division know that they are not Yoruichi's opponent. Now that the powerful Captain Qian Ye sits in the 5th division defensive area personally, they naturally feel at ease. And, Shinigami of the 5th division, now expect Yoruichi to appear in the 5th division defensive zone. In this way, they can see with their own eyes how strong their Captain Qian Ye is. Pity. The Shinigami of the 5th division, instead of waiting for Yoruichi, they waited for the 2nd division captain, Shattered B. The 2nd division defensive area. After the Broken Bee learned that Yoruichi had appeared, he naturally rushed towards the 5th division defensive area regardless. Yes, the first time the Broken Bee was not looking for Shihuin Yoruichi who had invaded Jinglingting City, it went to the 5th division defensive area. At this moment, Broken Bee had already arrived in front of Qian Ye. Although more than a day had passed, when Broken Bee faced Qian Ye at this time, his heart was still a little uncomfortable. Broken Bee tried his best to calm himself. Qian Ye, can you do me a favor? Qian Ye looked at Broken Bee in confusion. Didn't the team just inform Yoruichi that they had appeared? I have always been to the Broken Bee who suddenly defected from Soul Society to Yoruichi in 110, shouldn't Broken Bee now go to Yoruichi to ask for an explanation? Of course, Qian Ye did not ask directly. Captain Broken Bee, What do you want me to help you? Broken Bee said. Yoruichi is the former captain of the 2nd Division. She suddenly defected to Soul Society 110 years ago. I want to personally take down her entire traitor. Qian Ye nodded, and as expected, Broken Bee still cared for Yoruichi in his heart. Well, the Broken Bee in front of me is still the familiar Broken Bee. But, Qian Ye was even more puzzled. In that case, why didn't Broken Bee look for Yoruichi immediately, but came here to ask him for help? Qian Ye was even more curious, what exactly did Broken Bee want him to do for help? The Broken Bee did not wait for Qian Ye to ask questions, and then continued. I have been by Yoruichi's side before, knowing that Yoruichi has a very strong ability to hide. If Ishin hides from me, it will be difficult for me to find her in the first place. Qian Ye, you have a strong ability to perceive Reiatsu, so I want to ask you for help and take me to Yoruichi. Qian Ye suddenly realized that it was like this. As Shattered Bee said, Yoruichi was famous for his assassination skills when he was the captain of the 2nd Division. Yoruichi's assassination is powerful, and his ability to hide is naturally very superb. Not to mention the past, even the current Soul Society, in the hidden area, few people can match Yoruichi. Yoruichi usually disguised herself as a black cat, her concealment ability is evident. Actually, Broken Bee and Yoruichi had agreed long ago that when Yoruichi appeared in Seraiti again, as long as Broken Bee seeks her, Yoruichi will tell Broken Bee what she wants to know. In other words, Yoruichi doesn't deliberately avoid the Broken Bee and prevent the Broken Bee from finding it. The reason why Broken Bee came to ask Qian Ye for help. I want to take Qian Ye over to find Yoruichi, and then confirm one thing. Broken Bee wants to know how Qian Ye's instant opening was learned. As well as, why is Qian Ye's instant opening better than Yoruichi's instant opening? Qian Ye, who didn't know the real purpose of Broken Bee, thought that Broken Bee was really trying to find Yoruichi the first time, so he nodded and agreed. Thank you Qian Ye. Oh, after you find Yoruichi, thank me again. Qian Ye started to release Reiatsu while talking, and then tried to perceive Yoruichi's Reiatsu. When Yoruichi rescued Kurosaki Ichigo from Qian Ye last time, Qian Ye met Yoruichi's Reiatsu. Soon, Qian Ye felt Yoruichi's Reiatsu. For flowers. What surprised Qian Ye was that Yoruichi's Reiatsu was in the direction of the 4th Division's defense area. Come with me. Qian Ye finished speaking, showing his figure, and hurried to the direction of the 4th Division defensive area. The Broken Bee is naturally hurried to keep up. Shinigami of the 5th Division, after seeing Qian Ye leaving with the Broken Bee, many Shinigami's hearts suddenly hang. Ah, Captain Qian Ye is gone. If Yoruichi comes to our defense zone, what should we do? You are stupid. Didn't you hear Captain Broken Bee say? She wants Captain Qian Ye to help her find Yoruichi. Oh, yes, Captain Qian Ye went to find Yoruichi himself, and Yoruichi will naturally not come to us. I don't know if the young man named Kurosaki Ichigo will come to our defense area. It's just a young man who was in trouble. With so many of us Shinigami here, are you still afraid that he won't make it? Yes, except Kurosaki Ichigo, the rest of the travel accident has been caught. And the reason why Kurosaki Ichigo was not caught is that Yoruichi personally rescued him. If Kurosaki Ichigo comes to us, we will make a difference. Shinigami of the 5th Division, look forward to Kurosaki Ichigo coming to the 5th Division defensive area. But their wish is destined to fail. Whether Kurosaki Ichigo is going to save Rukia Kuchiki or Ishida Ryu and others, he will not even pass the 5th Division defensive area. When Qian Ye went with Broken Bee, Qian Ye perceives Yoruichi Reiatsu's 4th Division. Kurosaki Ichigo and Yoruichi made the assignment. Yoruichi went to the 4th Division to rescue Kurosaki Ichigo's friend Ishida Ryu and others. Kurosaki Ichigo went on to the Confession Palace to rescue Rukia Kuchiki who was imprisoned there. Kurosaki Ichigo wants to go to the Confession Palace, naturally, he needs to pass through the defensive area of the 11th Division. Then, Kurosaki Ichigo was stopped by Zaraki Kenpachi and Kusajishi Yakiru when he passed the 11th Division's defense zone. Zaraki Kenpachi looked at Kurosaki Ichigo disdainfully and said, "Cut, you came to my defense zone." It's no wonder that Zaraki Kenpachi looked at Kurosaki Ichigo so, who made Zaraki Kenpachi remember the scene where he kicked Kurosaki Ichigo before. Qian Ye, thank you for your monthly ticket support of Endless Darkness. Thank you very much, fan. Chapter 155. Kurosaki Ichigo and Zaraki Kenpachi, 3x. Unlike Zaraki Kenpachi, who looked at Kurosaki Ichigo disdainfully, Kurosaki Ichigo looked at Zaraki Kenpachi with solemn eyes. He knew that Zaraki Kenpachi was a captain-level existence. Although Kurosaki Ichigo has learned Bankai now. However, the purpose of Kurosaki Ichigo's appearance again is not to use the newly learned Bankai and the captain-level Shinigami. It is one rescued Rukia Kuchiki and Ishida Ryu and others. When Kurosaki Ichigo and Yoruichi broke into Jinglingting City again, the two negotiated. Yoruichi was in charge of going to the 4th squad, but rescued Kurosaki Ichigo's friends, Ishida Ryu and others who were imprisoned in the 4th squad. Kurosaki Ichigo is responsible for going to the Confession Palace to rescue Rukia Kuchiki who was being held there. Certainly, Yoruichi did not tell Kurosaki Ichigo according to 537. Rukia Kuchiki was actually confessing in the confession palace, and he would be released in a few days. There was no need for Kurosaki Ichigo to rescue him. Kurosaki Ichigo unwrapped Zanpakuto, who was wrapped in a bandage, then held it in his hand, staring at Zaraki Kenpachi on the opposite side. Now that I met Captain Zaraki Kenpachi here, Kurosaki Ichigo knew that he had only one battle. Kusajishi Yakiru, who was lying on Zaraki Kenpachi, stared at Kurosaki Ichigo on the opposite side and reminded Zaraki Kenpachi. Again, he seems to have become stronger. Really? After Zaraki Kenpachi kicked Kurosaki Ichigo, he put all his thoughts on Qian Ye. Therefore, Zaraki Kenpachi just felt that Kurosaki Ichigo was weak, and didn't take Kurosaki Ichigo out of mind. At this time, after Zaraki Kenpachi heard Kusajishi Yakiru's reminder, he looked carefully at Kurosaki Ichigo. Zaraki Kenpachi took a close look at Kurosaki Ichigo. The feeling he gave me has changed, but is he really strong? Kusajishi Yakiru said. Again, is he strong? You won't know if you fight him. Oh, that's right, just let me see if I really get stronger now. Zaraki Kenpachi felt that he had become stronger since the battle with Qian Ye. Now, he just took Kurosaki Ichigo to try the water to see if he really got stronger. Kusajishi Yakiru leapt lightly on Zaraki Kenpachi's back and fell to the side of the wall. Then, Kusajishi Yakiru clenched his fists and cheered Zaraki Kenpachi. Aegean, come on, cut. Zaraki Kenpachi didn't catch a cold to Kusajishi Yakiru's cheering on him. Instead, Zaraki Kenpachi looked at Kurosaki Ichigo, and after twisting his neck, he looked at Kurosaki Ichigo with disdain. Come on, chop at me with all your strength. Zaraki Kenpachi asked Kurosaki Ichigo to cut him first, to see if Kurosaki Ichigo could break through his Reiatsu defense. If Kurosaki Ichigo's full attack can't break through his Reiatsu defense, then he is not worthy of his opponent Zaraki Kenpachi. Kurosaki Ichigo saw Zaraki Kenpachi look down on him so much, and the belligerence in his heart was also aroused. Kurosaki Ichigo did not rush to Bankai, but held Zanpakuto in his hand and slashed towards Zaraki Kenpachi. Zaraki Kenpachi did not evade, letting Kurosaki Ichigo slash at him. Kurosaki Ichigo watched him hit hard, leaving only a shallow mark on Zaraki Kenpachi, full of surprise. With this blow, he can even split rocks. Unexpectedly, unable to cut Zaraki Kenpachi in front of him. Soon, Kurosaki Ichigo discovered something was wrong. It's not how strong Zaraki Kenpachi's body is, but Zaraki Kenpachi covered Reiatsu on his body. Those Reiatsu covering Zaraki Kenpachi formed a Reiatsu defense around Zaraki Kenpachi. I have to say, it's Kurosaki Ichigo. He just slashed the Zaraki Kenpachi knife and noticed this. After Zaraki Kenpachi slashed at him, Kurosaki Ichigo, who retreated to the side, beckoned. Come on, come again. I know that it was not your full blow just now. Drink. Kurosaki Ichigo heard the words, holding Zanpakuto, and slashing towards Zaraki Kenpachi with all his strength. At the same time, the other side, the 4th Division defensive area. Yoruichi, who wanted to come here to help Kurosaki Ichigo rescue Ishida Ryu and others, was stopped by Unohana Retsu, the captain of the 4th Division. Unohana Retsu took a gentle smile familiar to Yoruichi. Yoruichi, it's been a long time since we met. We didn't have time to talk when we met 2 days ago. Do not know why. Yoruichi always feels that the feeling Unohana Retsu gives her is different from the past. Yoruichi feels that Unohana Retsu is not just different from before she left Soul Society 110 years ago. It seems that Unohana Retsu feels different to her now and when she hurriedly met 2 days ago. As for what is different, Yoruichi can't tell. Captain Ujihua, those children are not malicious towards Soul Society, can you let me take them away? Unohana Retsu said. Sorry, how to deal with those children, the captain made his own ruling afterwards, and forgive me for not being able to let you take them away from me. Just after Unohana Retsu finished speaking, a smile suddenly appeared on his face and looked behind Yoruichi. Yoruichi turned around. I saw Qian Ye and Broken Bee walking slowly here. Shallow. Unohana Retsu just wanted to call Qian Ye, but realized that it might not be right, so he stopped. Qian Ye was a shunpo who came to Unohana Retsu. Sister Wa, do you miss me? Unohana Retsu blushed. Who misses you? But I miss you so much. We haven't seen each other for almost 2 days. Sister Wa, do you really miss me? Unohana Retsu turned his head away, not daring to look at Qian Ye's hot eyes. When Broken Bee saw Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu kissing each other, his heart was empty. Yoruichi knew it. No wonder she feels that Unohana Retsu feels different to her. It turned out to be, fell in love. And, Unohana Retsu's love partner 4.9, turned out to be Qian Ye. This is something Yoruichi never dreamed of before. Since Qian Ye has established a relationship with Unohana Retsu and even took her down, he has no plans to hide his relationship with Unohana Retsu. Qian Ye held Unohana Retsu directly in his arms. After Unohana Retsu was hugged by Qian Ye, he did not resist, and leaned softly against Qian Ye. When Broken Bee watched this scene, he only felt that his heart was congested. At this time, Yoruichi gave Qian Ye a firm thumbs up. Qian Ye, all right. Hey, Qian Ye said. Captain Broken Bee, how do I feel that your relationship with Miss Yoruichi is not like what you told me just now? Wasn't Broken Bee going to take Yhwach himself? Now that I see it, shouldn't the Broken Bee pounce like a tiger wolf and fight Yhwach to death and death? Chapter 156. Qian Ye, did you learn Shunjo from Yhwach? 1x. Qian Ye looked at Broken Bee and Ye speechlessly. He couldn't understand why Broken Bee and Yhwach met now. Don't say anything. Broken Bee and Yhwach didn't even look at each other with the affection Qian Ye imagined. Instead they stared at him and Unohana Retsu together. Even if the relationship between Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu is now, it can be regarded as Jing Lingting's best news. But didn't the Broken Bee know it at the dance party 2 days ago? And, no matter how great the news is, it can't compare to the 110 years of grievances between Broken Bee and Yhwach. After the Broken Bee cleared up some of his disappointment, he looked at Qian Ye with a serious expression. Qian Ye, did you learn it from Yhwach? If Yhwach is not here, Qian Ye might answer yes, to perfuse Broken Bee. But now Yhwach is here. Qian Ye naturally couldn't answer that way. Of course, Qian Ye also reacted at this time. Qian Ye asked, Captain Shattered Bee, you and Miss Yhwach have seen each other a long time ago. Broken Bee didn't answer 23 words, but Yhwach opened the mouth and said, Qian Ye, can you please show your instant opening? At this moment, Qian Ye still doesn't understand. The reason why Broken Bee asked him to help was not to find Yhwach the first time, but for this matter. Moreover, judging from the appearance of Broken Bee and Yhwach, it was obviously premeditated. Yes, I dare to calculate him. Qian Ye didn't show Yhwach instant opening, but looked at Broken Bee with a calm face and asked. Captain Broken Bee, from whom did you learn your instant coax? The Broken Bee said, I used to watch Yhwach perform instant opening. After Yhwach left Soul Society, I learned it by myself in 110 years. Qian Ye said, Captain Broken Bee, I have fought with you several times, right? Broken Bee nodded. Qian Ye continued, when I was fighting with you, did you use instant coaxing? Broken Bee nodded again. So, when I was fighting with you, Captain Shattered Bee who used Shunkai, I learned Shunhua by myself. I have only fought with you a few times, so you can learn to open it instantly. Broken Bee obviously didn't believe Qian Ye's words. Qian Ye said, maybe because I am a genius. Even if you are a genius, how can you learn Shunkai in such a short period of time? How can it be better than my Shun, or even Yhwach, the developer of Shunkai? Qian Ye hasn't answered yet, but Unohana Retsu, who was leaning on Qian Ye, said. Because Qian Ye is a genius. Seeing Unohana Retsu helping Qian Ye speak, and it was such an unconvincing reason. A string of black lines appeared on both Broken Bee and Yhwach. Is this really genius to explain? Sure enough, the IQ of a woman in love will be lowered unconsciously. Even an existence like Unohana Retsu cannot escape this iron law. Unohana Retsu could see that Yhwach and Broken Bee didn't believe it, so he said, whether you believe it or not, I believe it anyway. A string of black lines appeared on Broken Bee and Yhwach's heads again. Boy, is this the Unohana Retsu they know? It's not just Shattered Bee and Yhwach who are surprised. The Shinigami of the 4th Division, even as early as Qian Ye hugged Unohana Retsu, were so surprised that they couldn't speak. Especially Katetsu Aizen, the deputy captain of the 4th Division. She couldn't think of it. The captain of their family was taken down. And after Unohana Retsu was taken by Qian Ye, the contrast is too big, right? Captain Shattered Bee, Miss Yhwach, I know that you are deeply hit. You have only mastered Shunkai for hundreds of years. Not only have I easily learned it in a very short time, but my Shunman is better than you. Qian Ye paused for a while and continued, but there is a gap between this person and a person, so you don't need to pay too much attention to it. After all, this is a problem of talent. It's not that you can't do it, but that I am too good. Do not know why. Broken Bee and Yhwach wanted to beat Qian Ye very much at this time. Especially Yhwach wanted to rush forward and kick Qian Ye hard. Because Qian Ye's words are very similar to what she said when she laughed at Kurosaki Ichigo for making psychic bombs. At that time, Kurosaki Ichigo was hit hard by her words. Yhwach did not expect that she would be hit like this one day. Qian Ye was a little embarrassed to see Broken Bee and Yhwach not answering. He has installed this cup, anyhow he will give some reaction. If the other party doesn't respond, then he is not pretending to be a cup, but an awkward cup. Then, Qian Ye intends to divert the subject. Captain Shattered Bee, aren't you trying to settle grievances with Miss Yhwach? Start quickly, why have you been struggling with my instant opening problem? Shattered Bee and Yhwach glanced at each other, and then both opened instant openings at the same time. Then, Yhwach and Broken Bee both attacked Qian Ye from left to right at the same time. Trigger special event. Lessons from Broken Bee and Shihuan Yhwach. Qian Ye didn't have the mind to care about the prompt sound in his mind. Because, the attacks of Broken Bee and Yhwach had reached both sides of Qian Ye at the same time. And this time, Qian Ye also held Unohana Retsu in his arms. This makes Qian Ye very angry. Brush. Qian Ye and Shunpo, holding Unohana Retsu and disappearing in place. Qian Ye knew that Yhwach and Broken Bee wanted to force him to use instant Kai, but Qian Ye was still very angry. Sister Hwa, wait for me for a while. Qian Ye released Walleye of the egg, and then disappeared in 537 where she was. Unohana Retsu stood by, but didn't plan to help. She is very confident in Qian Ye's strength. Qian Ye appeared in front of Broken Bee and slammed her with a punch. While Shattered Bee avoided Shunpo, Yhwach appeared behind Qian Ye and kicked Qian Ye. Both Shattered Bee and Yhwach, which opened instantly, were extremely fast. Even Qian Ye, without liberating Zanpakuto, couldn't keep up with the speed of the two. Puff. But Yhwach's attack fell on Qian Ye, but he could not cause any harm to Qian Ye. After fighting with Zaraki Kenpachi, Qian Ye learned how Zaraki Kenpachi covered Reiatsu around his body to form a Reiatsu defense. Just like when Qian Ye learned to use sword pressure from Komamura Sajin. What a strong Reiatsu defense. Yhwach didn't expect that she could not break Qian Ye's Reiatsu defense when she turned on the instant coax. After opening the instant opening, Yhwach waved his hand at will, he could break the ground open and crush the rocks. And Yhwach, who wanted to know Qian Ye's strength, didn't hold back when he attacked Qian Ye. Qian Ye, you still don't start Shunwan, are you too dismissive of us? Qian Ye sneered. Captain Shattered Bee, what you said is so interesting. You two can't even break through my Reiatsu defense. You still want me to turn on instant. Chapter 157, Qian Ye. One enemy 2x. Advertise here. Then hit until you are willing to turn on instant open. As soon as the Broken Bee's voice fell, people had flashed in front of Qian Ye and launched a fierce attack on Qian Ye. At the same time, Yhwach also cooperated with Broken Bee, constantly attacking Qian Ye. Boom. The ground Qian Ye stood on could not withstand the powerful destructive power of Broken Bee and Yhwach, and it continued to burst. The Shinigami of the 4th Division, watching the battle here, unconsciously stayed away from the place where Qian Ye and the Broken Bee Yhwach fought, for fear of being affected. A few minutes later, the terrain where Qian Ye and Shattered Bee Yhwach fought, the terrain has been completely destroyed. And Qian Ye is still unscathed. Broken Bee and Yhwach launched a fierce attack on Qian Ye, but they couldn't break Qian Ye's Reiatsu defense, but destroyed the terrain where Qian Ye was located beyond recognition. Both Broken Bee and Yhwach had huge waves in their hearts. The two attacked so fiercely, they still couldn't break Qian Ye's Reiatsu defense. How strong is Qian Ye's Reiatsu? Especially Broken Bee's heart at this time, even more unable to calm down. How long has it been since she fought Qian Ye last time today? Compared with the last time, Qian Ye's strength is completely 2 levels. Qian Ye looked at Broken Bee and Yhwach disdainfully, that's it. That's me. Qian Ye, Shunpo and Broken Bee pulled away from Yhwach, and then pulled out Zanpakuto. Go back to 1. Now Mimahime. Qian Ye directly liberated Now Mihime's 3rd form. At this time, Qian Ye can borrow the power of Now Mickey. Swift. At the same time Qian Ye finished Shikai, Yhwach and Broken Bee's pursuit came. But, this time the attack of the two could not fall on Qian Ye. Because, in front of Shattered Bee and Yhwach's attack, a spiritual defense wall appeared. The attacks of the two fell on the spiritual defense wall. Although they all opened a hole in the spiritual defense wall, the attack was blocked. Although Broken Bee and Yhwach could not break Qian Ye's Reiatsu defense. But Qian Ye couldn't let the two attack him forever. While the spiritual defense wall blocks the attacks of Shattered Bee and Yhwach. Qian Ye quickly pushed out a palm and hit the spiritual defense wall in front of him. Under the impetus of Qian Ye, the spiritual defense wall slammed towards the Broken Bee and Yhwach who were jointly attacking. Hey! Broken Feng Zhao shouted, and a kick hit the spiritual defense wall that was advancing fast in front of her, trying to break the spiritual defense wall. Careful! Yhwach exclaimed, hugged the Broken Bee, and flashed to the side with the Broken Bee. Broken Bee was puzzled, but saw that the originally flat spiritual defense wall had countless spikes. If her foot falls on the spiritual defense wall, she will definitely be injured. Thanks. Strip. Before the Broken Bee was relieved, he saw a huge cage in the air, falling towards the two of them. Broken Bee and Yhwach tried to escape, but found that a spirit vine appeared under their feet, entwining them tightly. Boom. The huge cage in the sky crashed down, trapping Shattered Bee and Yhwach in it. It's not over yet. Hundreds of spirit swords appeared out of thin air around the cage. Each spirit sword is covered with Qian Ye's Reiatsu. Qian Ye waved his hand. Swift, strip. Hundreds of spirit swords penetrated the gap of the cage at the same time, lacing towards the Broken Bee and Yhwach trapped in it. Damn it, what kind of attack is this? Not only Yhwach, who fought Qian Ye for the first time, felt strange and tricky to the series of attacks after Qian Ye Shikai. Even the Broken Bee that Qian Ye has fought against several times, at this moment is still confused. Because Qian Ye had never used such methods when fighting her before. Boom boom boom. The spirit sword kept shooting at Yhwach and Broken Bee in the cage, immediately causing a spiritual explosion. Boom boom boom. The explosion sound is endless, and the terrifying spiritual explosion shock wave makes the 4th team Shinigami who had already left here, have to stay away again. The Shinigami of the 4th division then understood. No wonder why Qian Ye directly challenged their deputy captain Katetsu Aizen when he first joined the 4th division. Qian Ye does have the strength to sit directly on the deputy captain's seat. Certainly, Qian Ye no longer needs the position of deputy captain of the 4th Division, because Qian Ye is already the official captain of the 5th Division. In a strictly guarded ward of the 4th Division, Ishida Yulong and others huddled in front of the window, watching the fighting outside from a distance. Shiba Yanju didn't know Qian Ye before, just heard it from Inoue Orihime and other people. Regardless of whether it is Kurosaki Ichigo, Ishida Yulong, or Sato Yasutora and Inoue Orihime, the evaluation of Qian Ye is only one word, that is, strong. Now, Shiba Iwawushi really understood. Qian Ye's strength is indeed strong. And not only is strong, but terribly strong. My god, Qian Ye's strength is too terrifying. Is this the true strength of Captain Shinigami? Ishida Yulong thought that he was planning to kill Kuretsuchi Mayuri, who was also the captain of Shinigami, and his heart burst. If Qian Ye hadn't appeared at that time, would he be killed? Ishida Yulong would think so, that is because he didn't know the real strength of Kuretsuchi Mayuri. Certainly, if Kuretsuchi Mayuri makes an all-out effort, Ishin will kill Ishida Ryu. With the current Ishida Yulong himself, there is absolutely no chance of surviving. The 11th Division defensive area. Ding, ding, ding. Kurosaki Ichigo is holding Zanpakuto and constantly hacking with Zaraki Kenpachi. While Kurosaki Ichigo is learning Bankai, his own strength has also been improved under the training of Yhwach's soul. After discovering that Zaraki Kenpachi formed Reiatsu into a Reiatsu defense, he was inspired to learn how to apply Reiatsu to Zanpakuto. Therefore, Kurosaki Ichigo at this time, Li Haojiao, even without Bankai, can cut Zaraki Kenpachi. This made Zaraki Kenpachi very excited. Zaraki Kenpachi did not expect that a young man who was easily kicked by him could cut him. Hey, you can be stronger, right? Don't hide it, let me see your stronger power. Kurosaki Ichigo did not intend to use Bankai against Zaraki Kenpachi, but wanted to retain his strength, because he knew that he wanted to rescue Rukia Kuchiki and others. His opponent was definitely not the only one Zaraki Kenpachi. Now, after some more battles, Kurosaki Ichigo understood luck. The Shinigami captain Zaraki Kenpachi in front of him, if he does not Bankai, he may not be able to beat. Yes, after Zaraki Kenpachi fought Qian Ye, his seal had been loosened a bit. At this time, he is much stronger than when he was fighting Kurosaki Ichigo in the original plot line. Bankai, Tensa Zangetsu, Chapter 158, Kurosaki Ichigo. Bankai, 3x. Advertise here. Finally, when Kurosaki Ichigo faced Zaraki Kenpachi, he still used his Bankai. After Kurosaki Ichigo Bankai, he divided his Reiatsu into 2 parts. Half turned into a Death Tyrant outfit that was a little different from before, allowing Kurosaki Ichigo to move at high speeds and swing his sword quickly. The other half is transformed into a new and lightweight Zanpakuto style, so that the Zanpakuto in Qian Ye's hands will not affect Kurosaki Ichigo's high-speed movement and fast sword swing. Kusajishi Yakiru on the side was surprised. A sword, he knows Bankai. Don't make noise, I know. Zaraki Kenpachi faced Bankai's Kurosaki Ichigo without being too big. Zaraki Kenpachi took off his blindfold. Kurosaki Ichigo looked at the taken Zaraki Kenpachi, so you are not one-eyed. Boom. Before Kurosaki Ichigo finished speaking, he discovered that Reiatsu on Zaraki Kenpachi had been greatly improved. Not far away, Kusajishi Yakiru said, of course Aegean's eyes are not blind. That blindfold is a special Reiatsu seal item, because Aegean's Reiatsu is too strong, so Aegean can more easily experience the thrill of fighting. 540 sealed Reiatsu. Zaraki Kenpachi's Reiatsu, among all the captains of Gotei 13th Division, can be ranked in front. After Zaraki Kenpachi liberated Reiatsu, Kurosaki Ichigo naturally felt great pressure. However, after using Bankai, his strength is not weak. Brush. The moment Kurosaki Ichigo disappeared in place, a bunch of blood blossoms on Zaraki Kenpachi's shoulder. Kurosaki Ichigo's fast attack speed. Moreover, before Bankai, Kurosaki Ichigo faced Zaraki Kenpachi, who had not liberated Reiatsu, and had to cover Reiatsu on the blade, and then slash with full force to break Zaraki Kenpachi's defense. And now, Bankai's Kurosaki Ichigo, facing the liberation of Reiatsu, Reiatsu's defense is stronger, Zaraki Kenpachi, but can easily break through Zaraki Kenpachi's Reiatsu defense. Aegean, are you okay? That's interesting. Hey. When Zaraki Kenpachi spoke, a bunch of blood blossoms appeared on Zaraki Kenpachi's back again. After Kurosaki Ichigo Bankai, when he launched a super fast attack on Zaraki Kenpachi for the 3rd time. Zanpakuto in Zaraki Kenpachi's hand suddenly waved to the left. Ding. Zaraki Kenpachi had the wrong Zanpakuto blade in his hand, and it just hit it, and Kurosaki Ichigo was on the left side Tensa Zangetsu, who was hacking at him. Kurosaki Ichigo moved quickly while shocked, and attacked Zaraki Kenpachi from the other side. Ding. But Kurosaki Ichigo's attack that could not keep up with his naked eyes was successfully blocked by Zaraki Kenpachi. Ding. Ding. Kurosaki Ichigo kept launching slashes at Zaraki Kenpachi, while Zaraki Kenpachi kept hitting back based on intuition. Suddenly, the battle between Kurosaki Ichigo and Zaraki Kenpachi came to a stalemate. Kurosaki Ichigo's heart stunned. He knew that if he did not show stronger power, he would not be able to defeat Zaraki Kenpachi in front of him. Then, Kurosaki Ichigo started to shoot with all his strength. Puff, ding, puff. After Kurosaki Ichigo made a full shot, although Zaraki Kenpachi could intuitively perceive Kurosaki Ichigo's super fast slash, his speed was a bit unable to keep up and he was constantly injured. Cut, puff. Kurosaki Ichigo looked at Tensa Zangetsu, who was slashed into Zaraki Kenpachi's body in his hands for a moment. In Kurosaki Ichigo's view, Zaraki Kenpachi shouldn't have been injured by him. Not good. When Kurosaki Ichigo realized that Zaraki Kenpachi was deliberate, it was too late. Zaraki Kenpachi held the Tensa Zangetsu who had slashed on him with his left hand, while holding Zanpakuto with his right hand, he slashed at Kurosaki Ichigo who was standing in front of him. Puff. Kurosaki Ichigo's body was opened with a new Pakuto knife in the hands of Zaraki Kenpachi. Kurosaki Ichigo took advantage of being attacked by Zaraki Kenpachi, CDEJ, and took the opportunity to distance himself from Zaraki Kenpachi. Then, Kurosaki Ichigo lifted Tensa Zangetsu in his hand high, and yelled, Crescent Moon Sky Chong. Brush. A shock wave of Reiatsu crashed on Zaraki Kenpachi. Boom. Zaraki Kenpachi was still standing, but there was a scary wound left on his body. On the ground between Kurosaki Ichigo and Zaraki Kenpachi, a deep gully was left. The street behind Zaraki Kenpachi was also damaged to some extent. Again, not far away, Kusajishi Yakiru looked at Zaraki Kenpachi with some worry. Zaraki Kenpachi did not care about the wound on his body, but looked at Kurosaki Ichigo with great excitement. It's really a good power. Traveler Disaster Boy, you really surprised me. After Zaraki Kenpachi finished speaking, holding Zanpakuto, he ran quickly in the direction of Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki Ichigo looked at Zaraki Kenpachi, who was dripping with blood on his body, but ignored it. Zaraki Kenpachi, who ran towards him, said in his heart that it was a fake not to be surprised. The bleeding wound of Zaraki Kenpachi is not fake. It can only be said that Zaraki Kenpachi really doesn't care about the wounds on his body. As for Kurosaki Ichigo himself, he was troubled by the wound on his body that was just cut by Zaraki Kenpachi. Kurosaki Ichigo's injuries have already affected his fight. A team. Report to the captain. Zaraki Kenpachi has already played against Kurosaki Ichigo, a young man who was in trouble, and they are now fighting in the 11th Division defensive area. Team Captain Yamamoto Motoyajisai Shigekuni was looking in the direction of the 4th Division at this time. Chojiro Sasaki said. On the 4th Division side, I don't know why, Yoruichi and Captain Shattered Bee teamed up to fight Captain Qian Ye. After Chojiro Sasaki heard the news, he had a headache. Because Shattered Bee has joined forces with Yoruichi. If this matter is not handled properly, or Broken Bee can't give it afterwards, there is enough reason to convince the captain and other Gotei 13 captains, but they will be regarded as Yoruichi's accomplices, and as a traitor to the Soul Society. Do not know why. Chojiro Sasaki would rather, this time Qian Ye and Yoruichi join forces to deal with Shattered Bee. Because that, may be very much in line with Qian Ye's style of doing things. Captain, do you need to send reinforcements to the two battles? The first team exists as a coordinator of the overall situation. Has the power and obligation to allocate battlefield resources. Battlefield resources naturally include one's own combat power. The Shinigami of Gotei Shisanban are Jinglingtei's own combat resources. Yamamoto Motoinagi Saiju National Road. Since the travel accident boy came to rescue Rukia Kuchiki, let the captain of the 6th Division to reinforce Zaraki Kenpachi. Yamamoto Motoinagi Sai Shigekuni paused and continued. As for the 4th Division, Captain Ujihua didn't take any action there, which means that there is no need for our support. Chapter 159. Fancy Sister Threat 1X. Advertise here. I see, I'm going to notify Captain Kuchiki of the 6th Division to go to the 11th Division defensive area to support. Chojiro Sasaki left after speaking. On the other hand, Yamamoto Genyanagisai Shigekuni returned to his seat and sat down. The current situation of Soul Society, his captain, is getting more and more insightful. The 4th Division defensive area. Inside the huge cage where Yoruichi and Broken Bee were trapped. The shock wave of the Spirit Sword explosion has dissipated at this moment. I saw that the left hands of Yoruichi and Broken Bee were tightly clasped together, and both of them were looking at Qian Ye's direction and panting continuously. Fang-o. Yoruichi and Broken Bee faced Qian Ye's hundreds of Spirit Sword attacks and chose to use Kido's defense together. What is instant opening? That is the superb skill that combines Kido and white hits. Therefore, Yoruichi and Shattered Bee, who can use instant opening, will naturally not be bad at Kido. Just now, the two teamed up to use the number 60 defense Kido to defend against hundreds of Spirit Sword attacks initiated by Qian Ye against the two. Although Qian Ye's Spirit Sword attack was jointly defended by Broken Bee and Yoruichi, the huge cage that trapped them did not disperse. At this time, Qian Ye didn't rush to continue the attack, but looked at the Broken Bee and Yoruichi in the cage with some playfulness. Captain Shattered Bee, Miss Yoruichi. Can't you too? You. Broken Bee gritted his teeth, unwilling but unable to refute it. She only knew. Her previous perception of Qian Ye's strength was incorrect. Qian Ye is much stronger than she thought. Yoruichi was shocked. She knew that Qian Ye was very strong, but she never thought that Qian Ye could be so strong. Qian Ye was so strong that in the case of Shikai, she and Broken Bee were firmly suppressed. And, looking at Qian Ye's extremely relaxed look at this time, it was obvious that he hadn't used his true strength yet. Qian Ye, how strong is your true strength? Yoruichi let go of Broken Bee's hand and said helplessly, Broken Bee, it seems that the two of us are really underestimated. Yoruichi and Broken Bee thought that their joint attack on Qian Ye could force Qian Ye to use instant coax. From the looks of it, it seems difficult to do it. At this time, Unohana Retsu on the side said, Captain Shattered Bee, Yoruichi, you guys should be enough. If you continue to work on Qian Ye, although Qian Ye does not need my help, I will still not sit idly by. When Unohana Retsu threatened people, he would use an exhorting tone. However, even Zaraki Kenpachi, when advised by Unohana Retsu, most of the time, he would follow Unohana Retsu's advice. At this time, Broken Bee and Yoruichi knew that Unohana Retsu sounded like joking advice. Actually, Unohana Retsu is serious. If the two continue to attack Qian Ye, Unohana Retsu will definitely join the battle without hesitation, and fight them with Qian Ye, and will not be merciful. Therefore, don't fight. Yoruichi dismissed the instant open mode directly, and said, Qian Ye, let's talk about it. Seeing this, Broken Bee also followed Yoruichi to release the instant on mode. Qian Ye saw Yoruichi and Broken Bee after the instant on mode was lifted. Slap. Qian Ye snapped his fingers. The huge cage trapped by Yoruichi and the Broken Bee was turned into a spiritual child and dissipated. 10 minutes later, the 4th Division Conference Hall. Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu sat next to each other. Yoruichi and Broken Bee are sitting opposite each other. Yoruichi said, Smashed Bee, do you want to know anything, just ask. Before this moment came, Broken Bee always didn't want to face Yoruichi, and then ask the matter clearly. But now, when Yoruichi was sitting across from her, and said, What do you want to know? Despite asking, Broken Bee didn't know how to speak. Broken Bee has too many questions to ask, and there are too many things to say to Yoruichi. At this time, Broken Bee discovered that she didn't know where to ask. Qian Ye had known the matter between Broken Bee and Yoruichi for a long time. Therefore, Qian Ye is not interested in seeing the two sensational, or Broken Bee blames Yoruichi. Sister Wa, are you all right? Unohana Retsu naturally knew what Qian Ye was asking. She blushed and nodded. I'm fine. Qian Ye was overjoyed, holding Unohana Retsu's hand, and said, Then you will wait for me tonight, and I will come to you. ... For flowers. What? Why? Don't you want to? I don't have one, just. Unohana Retsu didn't know how to answer. The Broken Bee and Yoruichi on the side were speechless, looking at Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu at the same time, saying in unison. You two go out. Qian Ye stared back unceremoniously. Cut, it is you two who let me stay here with Sister Wa, and now it's also you two who let Sister Wa and I go out. Do you treat me and Sister Wa as shameless? Unohana Retsu stood up and pulled Qian Ye towards the outside. Qian Ye, let's go and see those accidents. Oh, good. Yoruichi looked at Qian Ye who followed Unohana Retsu obediently, and a string of black lines appeared on his head. Point 0. She was about to continue the topic with Broken Bee, only to find that Broken Bee was still staring at Qian Ye's back, and her eyes slowly became strange. Could it be? After Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu had left the 4th Division chamber, Yoruichi asked. Smashed Bee, shouldn't you be against Qian Ye? Broken Bee hurriedly interrupted Yoruichi. You don't need to worry about my business. Should you explain your sudden defection 110 years ago? Now that Aizen Sōsuke has defected from Soul Society to Hueco Mundo, it's time for me to tell you the truth. When Yoruichi and Broken Bee were frank about what happened that year. The ward where Ishida Yulong and others were temporarily imprisoned. Ishida Yulong and others who were sitting there stood up when they saw Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu walk in. Although the battle between Qian Ye and Broken Bee Yoruichi was not determined. However, Ishida Yulong and others still vividly remember the battle scene just now. Yo, we met again, are you okay here? Inoue Orihime said. Mr. Qian Ye, thank you for your concern, we are fine, but what do you plan to do with us? You won't kill us, right? Shiba Iwajiu pricked up his ears, obviously he was very concerned about this issue. Ishida Yulong was the first to speak. Sorry, Inoue doesn't mean that. We just want to know how you Soul Society plan to deal with this matter. Qian Ye pointed to the direction of the 11th Division's defensive area, and said, You should be aware of it, Kurosaki Ichigo is fighting over there. Fan. Chapter 160, Qian Ye. Reminds Ishida Yulong and others 2x. Advertise here. After hearing Qian Ye's words, Ishida Yulong nodded and said, Kurosaki may not know about Rukia, so he. Qian Ye said, Do you know who the two people who fought with me just now were? Ishida Ryu guessed. Is it Captain Shinigami? Qian Ye. One of them is indeed the current team captain, and the other is your acquaintance. Ah, Inoue Orihime said in surprise, but we haven't seen those two people. Sato said, No, one of them is very familiar with Reiatsu. After being reminded by Sato Yasutora, Ishida Yulong was taken aback. Ishida Ryu recalled Reiatsu, who had only sensed it, and said in surprise, Mr. Yoruichi. After Ishida Yulong said it, he felt incredible. 540 inches is wrong. Isn't Mr. Yoruichi a cat? And even if Mr. Yoruichi changes from a cat form to a human form, he should be a man. The black cat you saw before is indeed one of the people who fought with me just now. Qian Ye said and smiled. Yoruichi is her first name, and Shihuan is her last name. Ishida Yulong and others almost said in unison, Shihuan Yoruichi. Yes, Mr. Yoruichi in your mouth is called Shihuan Yoruichi, and her true identity. Qian Ye had a playful smile on his face. Saraiti was the last captain of the second division. Inoue Orihime felt incredible. Mr. Yoruichi, no, Miss Yoruichi, who was once Captain Shinigami. It's not just that, right? Rock Eagle, after learning Yoruichi's real name, Shiba Iwawushi, who was in a petrified state, was asked by Qian Ye. Shihuan is one of the four nobles of Soul Society, and Shihuan Yoruichi is the head of the Shihuan family. Yoruichi and Shiba Iwawushi's sister Shiba Sorzaru were good friends. Shiba Iwawaki knew about this, and he knew that Yoruichi seemed to be from a certain nobleman in Saraiti. However, Shiba Iwawushi has never seen Yoruichi's real body, and does not know Yoruichi's full name. This, after learning the true identity of Yoruichi. Ishida Yulong and others were speechless. Don't you think it's weird? After Yoruichi brought you to Soul Society, do you think that with her strength and identity, you really can't inquire about the real situation of teacher Rukia? Yoruichi first, Miss Yoruichi won't lie to us. Inoue Orihime flashed big eyes. Qian Ye is speechless, and a woman with a big chest and no brain. No wonder I get scolded by many Shinigami fans. Ishida Yulong was lost in thought. After Ishida Yulong got Qian Ye's reminder, he had already got what Qian Ye meant. After Yoruichi clearly knew that Rukia Kuchiki didn't need them to save, but didn't tell them the truth, he still took them to venture into Saraiti to fight against the Master Saraiti Team Shinigami. If Yoruichi has no conspiracy, or calculation, he would not believe that Ishida Yulong was killed. Well, that's all. You stay here honestly. After Kurosaki Ichigo is controlled, you may know the answer. After Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu left, Ishida Yulong remained silent. Original. He thought this was really an adventure plan to save Rukia Kuchiki. Never thought. This turned out to be a calculation by Urahara Kazuki and Yoruichi. What are they calculating? Although Ishida Yulong didn't know what Yoruichi and Urahara Kazuki were calculating, he was very unhappy in his heart. Because he knew that he was taken advantage of. He was played and applauded by Yoruichi and Urahara Kazuki. This feeling made Ishida Yulong feel very uncomfortable. Sato Yasutora is also aware of this, but he is different from the angry Ishida Ryu. Sato Yasutora was looking at the direction of the 11th Division's defensive area. He was worried now, and he didn't know what would happen to Kurosaki Ichigo. As for Inoue Orihime, unexpectedly. Ishida, Sato, don't believe Qian Ye's words, maybe he is separating our relationship. Miss Yoruichi not only helped us improve, she also brought us to Soul Society, and invaded Saraiti with us to rescue Rukia Kuchiki. How could she? Inoue, stop talking. Inoue Orihime did not continue, because she also found something wrong while counting Yoruichi's good time. Yoruichi has nothing to do with any of them. Why do you want to be so good to them? Why do you want to help them like this? There must be reasons they don't know. The 4th Division Captain's room. Unohana Retsu is sitting and dealing with the 5th Division team today. Qian Ye sat aside boredly. Qian Ye, don't you think it's boring? Qian Ye said. Yes. Qian Ye was not only bored, but also a little fooled. After Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu left the ward where Ishida Yulong and others were temporarily imprisoned, Unohana Retsu took him to the captain's room. Qian Ye thought that Unohana Retsu couldn't wait for the night, and would fight him happily during the day. Result. Unohana Retsu asked him to accompany the 5th Division team today. Although it is not tiring to work with men and women, Qian Ye really feels boring to deal with the work of the team. Qian Ye couldn't understand why do each squad have so many things to deal with every day. Gluck. Unohana Retsu originally thought Qian Ye would take care of her feelings, even if she was bored, she would say that she was not bored. Unexpectedly, Qian Ye actually told the truth, this is too straight. Don't you care about her feelings at all? Sister Wa, this great time, are we going to waste this kind of boring incident? Why don't we do something interesting? 4.9. Qian Ye said that he hugged Unohana Retsu, but was pushed away by Unohana Retsu. Don't make trouble, I'm busy. If you feel bored, just look at this. Unohana Retsu took out a small notebook from the drawer under the desk and threw it to Qian Ye. This little book is already a bit yellowish. Qian Ye opened it and saw it was a comic strip. The comic strip tells the story of the establishment of Saraiti. The protagonist of the story is naturally the Captain Yamamoto Motoijisai Shigekuni. Qian Ye knew these things a long time ago, but being bored is also boring, so he flipped through the comic strip in his hand. In the comics, Yamamoto Genryusai's achievements are obviously exaggerated. Yamamoto was not only portrayed as the strongest Shinigami of Soul Society, but also portrayed as a hero of Soul Society. Chapter 161. Ask for a kiss. Sister Wa. 3x. Advertise here. In fact, Yamamoto Genyonagisai Shigekuni is not as great as this comic strip. After all, no one is perfect. Yamamoto Motoyanagisai Shigekuni's achievements on the battlefield are indeed indisputable. Yamamoto Genryu Sai Shigekuni single-handedly established the Jingling Ting, the Gotei Shisanban and the Mao Spiritual Academy, which are indeed commendable. But, Yamamoto Genryu Saijuku has not done a good job in power management, and it is the kind that is worth complaining. Especially Yamamoto Genryuzai Shigekuni personally delegated power, Central 46. If Central 46 is really composed of 40 sages and 6 fair judges, that's all. Result. The so-called 40 sages are only representatives of the nobles, and the 6 judges are also in the same way as the nobles. Although Central 46 played a certain role in maintaining Seoul society regulations, its true meaning was to protect the interests of the nobles. Otherwise, there will be no tragedy of Tusen Kanami and his childhood sweetheart. There will be no tragedy 23 of the Zanpakudo Hiranmaru incident. Even Uruhara Kazuki and Yoruichi defected to Seoul society will not happen. Does Yamamoto Motonusai Shigekuni really not know how Central 46 exists? As an old monster who has been the captain of the team for thousands of years, this is impossible. The 4th division, the captain's room. Just when Qian Ye was about to fall asleep, Qian Ye still felt that someone was leaning on him. Qian Ye opened his eyes and looked at Unohana Retsu who was leaning on him. Sister Wa, are you finished with it? Unohana Retsu nodded, and then the whole person stuck to Qian Ye's arms. Unohana Retsu even put the pretty face on Qian Ye's face, rubbing gently and gently. Qian Ye felt the silky touch on his face, and his heart was itchy. And Unohana Retsu even more intentionally or unintentionally brought her lips to Qian Ye's mouth. Qian Ye still doesn't understand. Unohana Retsu wanted Qian Ye to kiss her. Qian Ye is naturally like Unohana Retsu's. Sister Wa, here are some more. Katetsu Aizen walked in with his head down holding some documents. When she came to the table and looked at Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu who continued to kiss if nothing had happened, she was surprised that the file in her hand fell to the ground. Sorry, Katetsu Aizen ignored the papers that fell on the ground and ran out with his face covered. And Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu continued to do their own way. It seems that the episode just now did not happen. Slowly, Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu moved from the captain's room to the bedroom in the back room. Qian Ye, don't. Why? Qian Ye's fire has been ignited, is it now that you don't want it? If Yang Yin comes in again. Unohana Retsu knew very well what Qian Ye would do to her next. The two just kissed, and they ran into each other when they were hit by Katetsu Aizen. But the next thing, Unohana Retsu doesn't want anyone to see it. It's very simple. Wait a moment for me. Qian Ye arranged an isolation barrier, unless the captain-level Shinigami came, otherwise he could not enter Unohana Retsu's bedroom at all. After Unohana Retsu sensed the strength of the barrier set by Qian Ye, he took the initiative to rush Qian Ye back to her. Unohana Retsu blushed and said, Qian Ye, you also want to make me feel happy in this battle. Let's go to war. The 11th Division defensive area. Both Zaraki Kenpachi and Kurosaki Ichigo have several more wounds. At this time, Zaraki Kenpachi kept bleeding from his sword-holding hand, but he didn't care. At this time, he was slashing against the air. Zaraki Kenpachi is looking for feeling. Sudden, Zaraki Kenpachi and Kurosaki Ichigo looked to the left together. I saw Byakuya Kuchiki walk over without expression. Zaraki Kenpachi looked at Byakuya Kuchiki and said, Kuchiki, this is my defense zone. What are you doing here? Zaraki, you are so useless. It's been a long time since you haven't taken this young man in trouble, so the captain asked me to support you. Cut. I don't need support, let's go. Kurosaki Ichigo was surprised. He has already heard from the words of Zaraki Kenpachi and Byakuya Kuchiki that the person who came is also the leader of Shinigami. And, the captain's surname is Kuchiki, isn't it? Excuse me, what is your relationship with Rukia? Byakuya Kuchiki took a look at Kurosaki Ichigo. Is this the young man who gained the power of Shinigami with the help of Rukia Kuchiki? My name is Byakuya Kuchiki, Rukia's righteous brother. Since you are Rukia brother, why are you stopping me from saving Rukia? After Kurosaki Ichigo learned that Byakuya Kuchiki is Rukia Kuchiki's elder brother, he felt very incomprehensible. Byakuya Kuchiki said, Rukia has made a mistake, so he should be punished. Kurosaki Ichigo saw that Byakuya Kuchiki said such words so plainly, he was even more puzzled and angry. I don't know what Rukia Kuchiki gave me the power of Shinigami, what is wrong, and why you think it is a first-degree felony. But Rukia Kuchiki is your sister, can you bear to watch her suffer from double reproduction? Will the punishment die? Byakuya Kuchiki frowned. He who cares more about Rukia Kuchiki than anyone else, when will it be the turn of an irrelevant kid from this world to teach her attitude towards Kuchiki Rukia 540? This is my Kuchiki family's business, what to do with you? Of course it has something to do with me, this is because of me after all. At that time there was a phantom near my house. Rukia was to protect me and my family. This gave me the power of Shinigami, even if it violated your soul society rules, but you can't put Rukia to death because of this. Kurosaki Ichigo paused and continued. Also, you are Rukia's brother. Shouldn't your brother protect his sister? Or, you don't care about Rukia's sister? Byakuya Kuchiki said with a solemn face. Kurosaki Ichigo continued. Since you don't care about Rukia, why did you recognize her as a righteous sister in the first place? I am also an older brother. If there is something wrong with my sister, I will never sit idly by. Byakuya Kuchiki said in a deep voice, are you teaching me to do things? Byakuya Kuchiki's voice was cold, and there was a murderous intent in his words. Hey, what are you doing? Zaraki Kenpachi waved Zanpakuto and continued. Kuchiki, this is my opponent, what do you want? Wait until I finish fighting with him. Zaraki, can you give him to me? While Byakuya Kuchiki spoke, Zanpakuto had been pulled out. Obviously, regardless of whether Zaraki Kenpachi agrees or not, Byakuya Kuchiki intends to directly attack Kurosaki Ichigo. Chapter 162, Byakuya Kuchiki. Forced to intervene. 1x. Advertise here. After Byakuya Kuchiki arrived, he had to intervene in the battle between Zaraki Kenpachi and Kurosaki Ichigo. To this, Zaraki Kenpachi was a little upset and said, cut. Byakuya Kuchiki, you are so boring. Although Zaraki Kenpachi said so, he put away Zanpakuto and waved to Kusajishi Yakiru not far away. Yakienryu, go. Ajien, where are you going? Kusajishi Yakiru leapt slightly and came to Zaraki Kenpachi. This is the first time she has seen Zaraki Kenpachi hand over an opponent who has no winners or losers. Zaraki Kenpachi put on the removed blindfold and said, go to the 4th division to heal. Zaraki Kenpachi did not want to give Kurosaki Ichigo to Byakuya Kuchiki. But, although Zaraki Kenpachi is a belligerent madman, he is not without a bit of emotional intelligence. He can't tell where it is. At this time, between Byakuya Kuchiki and Kurosaki Ichigo, it is more suitable or more necessary to make a break. After Zaraki Kenpachi fought with Kurosaki Ichigo, he had many bloody wounds on his body. Kusajishi Yakiru did not climb onto the back of Zaraki Kenpachi as usual, but followed Zaraki Kenpachi. Ajian, when you are fighting Kurosaki Ichigo, it seems that Qian Ye is also fighting with people. Oh, isn't it? Well, and Qian Ye's opponent seems to be Captain Shattered Bee, and there is another Reiatsu who is also very familiar with, but I have forgotten who it belongs to. Whoever owns it, we'll know if we go and see. Yep. The 4th Division Chamber. The Broken Bee has listened to Yoruichi's explanation of the incident 110 years ago. Shattered Bee said in surprise. It turns out that Tusen Kanami didn't say everything when he confessed to us in Karakura Town. Yes, when Tusen Kanami confessed to Karakura Town, he only said what he and Aizen Sōsuke and others did to Qian Ye. As well as, there is Hōgyoku in Rukia Kuchiki, and Aizen Kuyusuke wants to take Hōgyoku from Rukia Kuchiki. Tusen Kanami did not tell Qian Ye and others that Aizen Sōsuke had been planning to obtain Hōgyoku hundreds of years ago. As well as, what will Aizen Sōsuke do after getting Hōgyoku? Then, because Qian Ye knew everything, all Qian Ye wanted was Tusen Kanami to expose Aizen Sōsuke to Komamura Sajin and others. Therefore, Qian Ye did not ask Tusen Kanami about 110 years ago, nor did he ask Aizen Sōsuke what he wanted to do after he got Hōgyoku. At this time, the Broken Bee listened to Yoruichi's explanation of what happened 110 years ago. Broken Bee also understands what Hōgyoku is and the origin of Hōgyoku. Certainly, Broken Bee also understands why Yoruichi and Urahara Kazuki defected from Soul Society 110 years ago and went to live in seclusion. It turned out that it was all caused by Aizen Sōsuke. In this regard, Broken Bee has made up his mind to kill Aizen Sōsuke. Aizen Sōsuke of damn it actually made her Yoruichi-sama who hadn't seen her for 110 years. It made her misunderstand and hate her Yoruichi-sama for 110 years. Even, let her Broken Bee beat her Yoruichi-sama 2 days ago rudely. After Yoruichi finished speaking, he looked at the stunned Broken Bee and asked, Broken Bee, do you have any questions? 1. Broken Bee lowered her head, she didn't know what to say to Yoruichi anymore. Yoruichi continued. Broken Bee, originally I didn't need to confess these things to you, but I didn't expect you to have such feelings for me, so I told you these things. Yoruichi's words broke the bee's heart a bit. But, not only did Broken Bee not feel sad, but he was very pleased. If Yoruichi doesn't take her Broken Bee seriously, why explain so much to her at this time? Then, Broken Bee looked at Yoruichi and said, Yoruichi-sama. Needless to say. Yoruichi saw that Broken Bee changed her name to Yoruichi-sama, and laughed. She knew that Broken Bee believed her words and no longer blamed her. Because, Yoruichi-sama, this name is what Broken Bee had always called Yoruichi when Yoruichi did not leave Soul Society. When Shattered Bee calls Yoruichi like this, it naturally means that Shattered Bee not only no longer blames Yoruichi, but also regards her as the most respected person again. Yoruichi-sama, why did you invade Saraiti this time? I don't believe that you are really trying to save Rukia Kuchiki. Broken Bee knew that with Yoruichi's ability, it was impossible to detect Rukia Kuchiki's true situation. Since Shattered Bee knew that Rukia Kuchiki didn't need to be rescued at all, he still took Kurosaki Ichigo and others to invade Saraiti. It must be that Yoruichi has other purposes. Yoruichi nodded and said, Urahara thinks that the person who can defeat Aizen Sōsuke of Hōgyoku may be Kurosaki Ichigo. Broken B was a little surprised when he heard the words, the young man who was in trouble. Yes, Kurosaki Ichigo is still weak now, but he has great potential and the future is extremely promising. Broken B thought for a while, and said, Yoruichi-sama, is Hōgyoku really that strong? Yoruichi said, now Aizen Sōsuke has acquired Hōgyoku. When you face Aizen Nuyusuke again, you will know that these worries between Unohana and I are not pretending to be mystery. Yoruichi paused and continued. Moreover, Kurosaki Ichigo's identity is not as simple as you know now. Kurosaki Ichigo has a big background. Broken B said, Yoruichi-sama, if you want to defeat Aizen Sōsuke who is fused with Hōgyoku, is it really impossible for the captain to do it, and rely on Kurosaki Ichigo? After Yoruichi was silent for a while, he said, before I saw Qian Ye, I thought so. Broken B knows what Yoruichi means. After Yoruichi met Qian Ye. In Yoruichi's mind, Qian Ye is one of the people who can defeat Aizen Sōsuke who is fused with Hōgyoku. Broken B remembered that she and Yoruichi had joined forces just now, and they were both firmly suppressed by Qian Ye. Master Yoruichi, do you think Qian Ye and Kurosaki Ichigo have greater potential? Yoruichi said, I don't know what to disturb. What? Yoruichi saw the surprised look of Broken B, and explained with a smile, because I can't see through Qian Ye at all, and the more I know about Qian Ye, the more I can't see through Qian Ye. Yoruichi paused and continued. Broken B, you have been staying in Soul Society. You must know Qian Ye better than me. Can you tell me more about Qian Ye? Broken B nodded. Then, Broken B began to talk to Yoruichi about Qian Ye's various deeds in Soul Society. Qian Ye, thank you for your reward and support. Thank you very much. Chapter 163. Qian Ye's past in Broken B's mouth. 2x. Advertise here. 6 to 7 years ago, abnormal spiritual explosions occurred frequently in the Zaraki district of the North 80 district of Rukongai. The captain sent the 4th Division's Unoka captain to investigate in the Zaraki district. After that, Captain Unohana brought back a 10-year-old half-size ghost from the Zaraki district, and sent the ghost to the registration office of the Mao Spiritual Academy. After hearing this, Yoruichi naturally guessed that the kid brought back by Unohana Retsu was the culprit that caused the unusual explosion of spiritual power in the Zaraki district. And, since Broken B is talking about Qian Ye, then. Yoruichi said. The kid brought back by Mao Zihua is Qian Ye. Broken B nodded. Yes. Yoruichi suddenly thought of a question and was surprised. In other words, Qian Ye is only 17 years old now. Broken B nodded again. Yes, Qian Ye is less than 17 years old now. But Qian Ye has such a strong strength, Yoruichi-sama, if you didn't see it with your own eyes, you wouldn't believe it. Indeed, if Yoruichi hadn't felt suppressed by Qian Ye, she would never believe that a 17-year-old boy could suppress her and Broken B. So, Qian Ye's potential is clearly above Kurosaki Ichigo. After Yoruichi calmed down 543, he continued to say, Smashed B, continue to talk about Qian Ye. Broken B said. Qian Ye caused a sensation during the entrance test of the Mao Spiritual Academy. Yoruichi thought, Qian Ye must have shown extremely high Reiatsu at that time. What's out of Yoruichi is. The Broken B said. Qian Ye did not control the spiritual power at the time. Once he used the spiritual power, it would cause a spiritual power explosion. Therefore, Qian Ye paralyzed the spiritual power test device developed by Kurachi Mayuri himself during the entrance test. NS. I don't like Kuretsuchi Mayuri, but the device he developed has never been a problem. Broken B said. Yes, Kuretsuchi Mayuri was also alarmed to go there in person, but after Kuretsuchi Mayuri checked, he said that there was some problem with his data settings, and did not blame Qian Ye. However, since then, Qian Ye and Kuretsuchi Mayuri have walked together, and the two have a very good relationship. When Yoruichi heard the words, a black line appeared on his head. She couldn't imagine that 6 years ago, a 10-year-old kid could walk with someone like Kuretsuchi Mayuri, CDEJ. The picture is really beautiful. Even if Broken B told Yoruichi, Yoruichi still thought it was impossible. Of course, whether Yoruichi thinks that is possible or not, it is true. Broken B continued. After Qian Ye formally joined the Mao Spiritual Academy, he not only got close to Kuretsuchi Mayuri. In addition, he also had a close relationship with the 11th squad. Even, Qian Ye seems to have an ambiguous relationship with the 6th and 3rd teams during his time in the academy. Yoruichi was not too surprised that Qian Ye had a close relationship with several teams during his academy. But, when Qian Ye was in the Mao Spiritual Academy, didn't he have any contact with the 4th Division? Yoruichi remembered that now Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu have walked together. And Qian Ye was also brought back to Saraiti from Zaraki by Unohana Retsu. That's why Yoruichi asked. Broken B shook his head. Since Captain Ujihua brought Qian Ye from the Zaraki area to the registration office of the Mao Spiritual Academy, he did not go to the Mao Spiritual Academy to see Qian Ye, nor did Qian Ye go to the 4th Division to find Captain Ujihua. People met again. 6 years later, Qian Ye was on the final assessment of graduation. Yoruichi frowned slightly. She thought Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu had a leg since 6 years ago, but it doesn't look like that now. Then Qian Ye is really amazing. Qian Ye graduated from the Mao Spiritual Academy only a few months ago. Qian Ye has not been in contact with Unohana Retsu during his academy, that is to say, Qian Ye has been in such a short period of time. Not only did you take down Unohana Retsu, who had been single for thousands of years, but also made Unohana Retsu so subdued. Yoruichi felt that Qian Ye's strength in this area was more unexpected than Qian Ye's. Broken B continued. 3 years later, Qian Ye completed the liberation of Zanpakuto's real name, and Qian Ye transformed his Zanpakuto into a human form, and spent 3 years as a student at the Mao Spiritual Academy. Yoruichi wondered, can Qian Ye's Zanpakuto be transformed into a human form? And it can exist outside for 3 years. Broken B said, it's not just that, Qian Ye's new soul knife seems to have her own imagination. She has been living her own life for 3 years in the Mao Spiritual Academy, and has no connection with Qian Ye. When Yoruichi heard this, he really wanted to see the human form of Qian Ye's Zanpakuto. Why only stayed for 3 years? Is the time up? Broken B shook his head. That's not the case. Qian Ye didn't tell everyone that he had completed Shikai, and asked her Zanpakuto to pretend to be his old aunt, just to beware of Aizen Sōsuke. 3 years later, when Qian Ye participated in the soul burial internship, he designed an accident in the present world to let his Zanpakuto die in the hands of Manos Grande, and to show his Shikai so that everyone thought he was suffering from the loss of his loved ones. Shikai just finished. Of course, Qian Ye did that at the time, mainly to confuse Aizen, just as he did not apply to graduate from the Mao Spiritual Academy in advance, in order to improve his strength as much as possible without attracting Aizen Sōsuke's attention. Yoruichi said, it's because of Aizen Sōsuke Zanpakuto's ability. After the Aizen Sōsuke incident, the true ability of Kyoka Suigetsu is no longer a secret in Soul Society. Yoruichi naturally knew this, so he asked. Broken B nodded and said, yes. Qian Ye kept concealing this news in order to guard against Aizen. It was not until 6 years later that he released the fake news about Shikai. Later, it will be Qian Ye's final graduation assessment. At that time, many captains made an exception to attend the ceremony. I remember Zaraki Kenpachi from the 11th Division. Ichimaru Jin from the 3rd Division. Unohana Retsu from the 4th Division. Aizen from the 5th Division. Byakuya Kuchiki from the 6th Division. Nije Yuli of the 12th Division. Jashiro Yukitaki, who is coming to the 13th Division, will also participate, but unfortunately, he was absent because of a sudden illness. A string of black lines appeared on Yoruichi's head again. In other words, Qian Ye had various relationships with the 7 captains when he was in the Mao Spiritual Academy. This has never been seen in the history of the Mao Spiritual Academy for more than 2,000 years. Chapter 164. Sister Wa, it depends on you. 3x. Advertise here. At that time, except for the absent Jashiro Yukitaki, the other 6 captains who participated in the ceremony all sent Qian Ye directly to join the team. In the end, Qian Ye chose to join the 4th Division. Really, Yoruichi had actually guessed it. Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu must have something. So, when Yoruichi learned that Qian Ye finally chose the 4th Division, it was not surprising at all. When Broken B talked about this, his heart was inexplicably painful. How she hopes that Qian Ye is not with Unohana Retsu. Even if Qian Ye still did not choose to be with her Broken B felt that it was better than Qian Ye was already with Unohana Retsu. Because, in that case, her Broken B still has a chance, yes. Yoruichi looked at the lonely Broken B in his eyes, and asked. Smashed B, what's wrong with you? Broken B shook his head. I'm fine. After Broken B calmed down, he continued. After Qian Ye graduated from the Mao Spiritual Academy and joined the 4th Division, the captain approached me and asked me to investigate Qian Ye. After some investigation, I found that Qian Ye has many suspicious things. For example, he suddenly appeared in Rukongai North 80 district, and there is no news from him in this world. For example, his old aunt now Miki, which is Qian Ye Zanpakuto's business. After Yoruichi learned that Qian Ye had no information in this world, he was not surprised. After all, as long as Soul Society has the strength, it doesn't tell the origin. If Tusen Konami had the current strength in the past, then the events at that time may have completely different results. And Tusen Konami will not be stimulated by this, and now chooses to defect to Soul Society with Aizen Sōsuke and head to Hueco Mundo. In short, in Yoruichi's heart, as long as Qian Ye's strength is sufficient, it doesn't matter what Qian Ye's background is in the past. Broken B said that he was a little thirsty, and after drinking the cold tea on the table, he continued. I thought Qian Ye was very suspicious at the time. I hope that the captain will be cautious, but the captain gave Qian Ye's useful words. At the time, I felt dissatisfied, and felt that letting Qian Ye stay in Seraiti Gotei 13 is a hidden danger to Soul Society. So I asked the Shinigami of the 2nd Division to investigate Qian Ye thoroughly with me, and I personally found Qian Ye had a fight with Qian Ye. Then, Broken B briefly talked about her battle with Qian Ye at that time. Certainly, she was almost irritated by Qian Ye, and Broken B didn't tell Yoruichi. Moreover, it is impossible for Shattered B to tell Yoruichi about this matter. Because of that, it's really shameful. Not only will Broken Bee not tell Yoruichi, she will not mention it to anyone. Yoruichi heard what Broken Bee said about the situation of Broken Bee fighting Qian Ye at that time, and thought about it. Qian Ye's strength when he just graduated, although his strength is above you, it is obviously not as suppressed as it is today, but now, it is able to firmly suppress you and me who have joined hands. Qian Ye's growth is also too terrible. Bar. While Broken Bee and Yoruichi were talking about Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu were in Unohana Retsu's bedroom, engaged in a fierce battle. Qian Ye, hurry up, Yoruichi and Broken Bee should be finished talking. After talking, I'm done talking. Sigh, what do they do? Are you worried that Broken Bee will help Yoruichi save Ishida Ryu and the others? Sister Wa, don't worry, Ishida Yulong and the others are not important to the captain. Even if Yoruichi and Broken Bee help them to rescue them from the 4th division, I will catch them again with you. Come back. Unohana Retsu said, no, I'm afraid they will come to see us after we finish talking. So you hurry up. Qian Ye said, can I end it soon, Sister Wa, it depends on you. Unohana Retsu turned back upon hearing this, and suppressed Qian Ye. Then let me do it. Oh, Qian Ye was taken aback for a moment, then was overjoyed. The 4th Division Chamber. The conversation between Yoruichi and Broken Bee continues. Broken Bee. After I lost to Qian Ye, I promised Qian Ye not to pursue his affairs. However, Omeda Marekio, my deputy captain, is a good advocate, and reported to Central 46 something about Qian Ye when he first joined the Mao Spiritual Academy. For flowers, Yoruichi said, Omeda Marekio is the son of Omeda Kinojin. Yes, Yoruichi-sama. Not long after you left Soul Society, Omeda Nozomi retired, and his son Omeda Marekio became the deputy captain of the 2nd Division. Oh, Omeda Marekio, as the deputy captain of the 2nd Division team, is so good at advocating behind your back. It seems that you, the 2nd Division captain, can't do it. Broken Bee was very ashamed when he heard this. Naturally, I can't compare with Yoruichi-sama. Broken Bee is not mocking Yoruichi, but her truth. Okay, don't compliment me anymore, just keep talking. What the hell did Omeda Marekio report to Qian Ye? Yoruichi is really curious, what exactly Qian Ye did back then is worth reporting to Central 46 directly by Omeda Marekio. Moreover, since Broken Bee brought up this matter, explain that this matter must have caused a lot of trouble to Qian Ye. The Broken Bee said, the reason why Qian Ye and Kuretsuchi Mayuri are so close is because they are carrying Saraiti together, and they have developed a powerful a spiritual bomb. Spirit bomb. What is that? Broken Bee explained. When Qian Ye was in the Zaraki area, the reason why his spiritual power exploded was because of his special spiritual power, so Kuretsuchi Mayuri used Qian Ye's spiritual power to develop a kind that can be used instantly. A prop similar to a world bomb. One of its power is enough to seriously injure or even kill Shinigami at the rank of deputy captain. Hiss. Yoruichi gasped at the words. Although, the combat power of Shinigami at the deputy captain level is nothing in the late stage of Shinigami. To know, the entire Soul Society, there are also 13 deputy captains. The deputy captain in Soul Society is already considered high-end combat power. And a psychic bomb can seriously injure the deputy captain. Yoruichi can almost imagine what judgment Central 46 will make after learning of this. Sure enough, Yoruichi only listens to the Broken Bee. After Central 46 learned of this, it immediately sent a group of search troops to bring Qian Ye and Kuretsuchi Mayuri to the Central Underground Conference Hall for trial. Fan. Chapter 165. From the death site of Sister Wa 1x. Advertise here. At that time, Aizen Sōsuke used Kyoka Suigetsu's ability to modify the result of Central 46's judgment against Qian Ye, to take Qian Ye's Zanpakuto, and to drive Qian Ye out of Saraiti, and never let Qian Ye enter Saraiti to take up the position of Shinigami. The reason why Broken Bee knew that at that time was Aizen Sōsuke who revised Central 46, the sentence against Qian Ye. Naturally, Tusen Kanami told them when he confessed to them in Karakura town. It's not just that Broken Bee doesn't know, but Tusen Kanami who told Broken Bee doesn't know. Actually Qian Ye knew Aizen Sōsuke was there at the time. Broken Bee continued. Qian Ye was naturally dissatisfied with this result, so he protested against Central 46. After that, including me, many squad captains broke into the Central Underground Conference Hall during the May 4th, 3 inches meeting for Qian Ye protest. Although Yoruichi was not present at the time, she already had a picture in her mind. Aizen Sōsuke might not have thought that there would be such a way to speak to the head of the squad for Qian Ye, so he had to use Kyoka Suigetsu's abilities again to change the sentence against Qian Ye. The aim of Aizen Sōsuke at the time was to deprive Qian Ye of Zanpakuto, because since Aizen Sōsuke met Qian Ye's Zanpakuto Shikai at the Mao Spiritual Academy, he felt that Qian Ye's Zanpakuto was a threat to him. After Aizen Sōsuke's plan at the time failed, he did not give up, but launched a more vicious plan. Then, Broken Bee explained how Aizen Sōsuke calculated Qian Ye and how Qian Ye cooperated with Aizen Sōsuke in acting. Later, Qian Ye brought me and Unohana Retsu to this world. I think Urahara Kazuki has already told you those things, Yoruichi-sama. Yoruichi nodded. I didn't expect Qian Ye to be under 17 years old, but he has experienced so many things, and they are all major events. After half an hour, Qian Ye and Unohana Retsu, who was flushed, returned to the 4th Division chamber together. At this time, Broken Bee has told Yoruichi all about Qian Ye. Yoruichi was naturally shocked when he learned about what Qian Ye had done in Soul Society and Aizen Sōsuke. Do not know why, Yoruichi has an inexplicable idea in his mind. That is, Central 46, maybe it was Qian Ye who killed him, not Aizen Sōsuke who killed him and blamed Qian Ye. Certainly, Yoruichi has no evidence for her guess, it is purely her instinct. Also, Yoruichi is very puzzled about one thing. That is, Aizen Sōsuke did not defend Central 46 when he successfully obtained Hōgyoku and fled to Hueco Mundo. Yoruichi thought, according to Aizen Sōsuke's temperament, if Central 46 was really killed by Qian Ye. Aizen Sōsuke even took the opportunity to drag Qian Ye to his side in order to cause trouble for Qian Ye when he left. Aizen Sōsuke will not only not take the blame for Qian Ye, but will also deliberately use this matter to make Qian Ye still feel uneasy in Soul Society after he leaves. It has been a while since Aizen Sōsuke defected from Soul Society to Hueco Mundo. Aizen Sōsuke did not write any articles on this matter. Again, this is only Yoruichi's suspicion and speculation, and there is no real evidence. Yoruichi thought, the thoughts she gave birth to before might be her illusion. Central 46 should be just as Broken Bee said, Aizen Sōsuke obliterated, and then tried to blame Qian Ye. Qian Ye asked, have you finished talking? Broken Bee didn't answer, she stared at Unohana Retsu, who was flushed, and didn't know what she was thinking. Instead, Yoruichi stood up, and then clamped Qian Ye's head with his hands and pulled it into her arms. Qian Ye, I heard Broken Bee say that you have bullied her several times, you are quite brave. Don't you know Broken Bee is my person? Yoruichi looked like he was teaching Qian Ye on behalf of Broken Bee, but actually took the opportunity to investigate Qian Ye. Yoruichi wants to know how strong Qian Ye's Reiatsu is. However, what makes Yoruichi speechless is that, even if she held Qian Ye in her arms and used her Shihuan family's unique exploration method to explore Qian Ye, she could not find out how much Qian Ye's spiritual power was and how high and low the Reiatsu was. Qian Ye, with his head close to Yoruichi's heart, said, Yoruichi, if you don't let go, I'm going to be angry. Yoruichi patted Qian Ye on the head with the other hand, then let go of Qian Ye and smiled. Broken Bee, I have already taught Qian Ye for you, what happened before you are over? Broken Bee looked dazed, she and Qian Ye no longer have any grudges. But, after the Broken Bee learned that Yoruichi was out for her, she was very moved. Sure enough, Yoruichi is still the Yoruichi-sama who pampered her. Qian Ye naturally discovered Yoruichi's small movements, but Qian Ye pretended not to notice and did not expose Yoruichi. Sudden. The smile on Yoruichi's face solidified. Because Yoruichi felt a terrifying gaze, and he was stroking her behind her back. Yoruichi turned around and saw that Unohana Retsu still had the slight smile on her face when she came in, but the look in her eyes was extremely strange. Although Yoruichi has never been in a relationship, it doesn't mean she doesn't understand. She naturally knew why Unohana Retsu stared at her so much. Ahem. It's been a long time since Ujiwa, are you interested in comparing Shunpo with me? Unohana Retsu said, Ms. Yoruichi, I hope you can be self-aware, otherwise I won't be polite to you. Yoruichi swallowed, and she naturally understood the threat that Unohana Retsu did not explain. Unohana Retsu means that Qian Ye belongs to her. Don't make such intimate actions to Qian Ye casually in 4.9. Otherwise she will be jealous, not right, or she will be angry. Yoruichi understood the threat of Unohana Retsu. Qian Ye, who also understood clearly, was naturally happy in his heart. The Broken Bee thought that Yoruichi wanted to use Shunpo to bully the eggs Wareo, and Unohana Retsu saw through it, so he said that. Master Yoruichi, Captain Unohana will definitely not compare to you Shunpo. Although Master Yoruichi, you have been away for more than 110 years, but your Flash Goddess name still has a reputation in Soul Society. A string of black lines appeared on Yoruichi's head, and at the same time he glared at Broken Bee, teammate Pig. Qian Ye said. Yeah, Miss Yoruichi, what do you mean by bullying my sister while with Shunpo, which you are good at? Chapter 166, Qian Ye vs. Flash Goddess Shunpo, 2x. Advertise here. When Unohana Retsu saw Qian Ye not only speaking for her, but also calling her Qian Ye's family, he did not continue to stare at Yoruichi with terrifying eyes. Now that Unohana Retsu has come forward for Qian Ye will not sit idly by seeing Unohana Retsu being bullied. Miss Yoruichi, we haven't seen each other for a long time, if you really want to try with me, then let's try kendo. Yoruichi was originally to cover up the embarrassment, so he proposed the competition, not really trying to compete with Unohana Retsu. Now let alone the Unohana Retsu competition, Unohana Retsu's best kendo. Then, Yoruichi waved his hand again and said, forget it, I admit that my kendo is not your opponent. Unohana Retsu confessed to Yoruichi, but didn't plan to be Yoruichi like this. So Unohana Retsu took her trademark gentle and peaceful smile, and said to Yoruichi, Miss Yoruichi, don't bully me and try Shunpo with me, and I won't bully you compared to Kendo. Unohana Retsu paused and continued. Miss Yoruichi, you and Qian Ye are better than Shunpo. After Unohana Retsu said, he gave Qian Ye a look. Qian Ye 23 naturally meant to get Unohana Retsu. So Qian Ye took Unohana Retsu's words and said, Yoruichi, do you want to compare Shunpo with me? You are called Flash Goddess. If you compare Shunpo with me, it shouldn't be considered as bullying you, right? Yoruichi thought for a while and said, Qian Ye, I can compare Shunpo with you, but it's boring to test, let's make a bet. Qian Ye said. Okay. I don't know what Yoruichi bet you want to place. Yoruichi said, if I beat you, can you let me take Kurosaki Ichigo's friends away? Qian Ye did not rush to agree, but smiled and asked, what if you lose? What can you give me? Yoruichi said, if I lose, I will give you my broken bee. Puff. The broken bee who was drinking with water on the side sprayed out directly. Yoruichi-sama, what are you talking about? Yoruichi saw Unohana Retsu staring at her with terrible eyes again. Hastily. Yoruichi smiled awkwardly. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Actually, Yoruichi is not kidding. Because she saw that broken bee seemed to like Qian Ye, so O would say so. Qian Ye said, Yoruichi, if you win me, I can let you take Ishida Yulong and them, and if you lose, you will come back to Saraiti. Now Saraiti still lacks 2 captains. The broken bee on the side nodded vigorously. If Yoruichi can return to Saraiti to be the captain of Shinigami, then she is definitely the happiest one. Although Yoruichi is Flash Goddess, in the heart of Broken Bee, he is the most powerful person in Soul Society Shunpo. At this time, Broken Bee hopes that Yoruichi can agree to Qian Ye's bet. And Broken Bee hopes Yoruichi loses. Although, Shattered Bee felt that as Flash Goddess Yoruichi, Shunpo would not lose to Qian Ye. To the disappointment of Broken Bee, Yoruichi directly rejected Qian Ye's bet. All other bets will work, but this one won't work. Since Yoruichi left Soul Society with Urahara Kazuki, who was forced to leave, he has been extremely disappointed with the top management of Jingling Ting. Unless Soul Society makes a radical change, it will be impossible for her Broken Bee to come back and continue to be Captain Shinigami. The so-called radical change is not for Soul Society to cleanse her and Urahara Kazuki and others from their grievances. It is to make a radical change to Soul Society's decadent management method. Qian Ye said. Since you don't want to, Yoruichi, please make a bet yourself. Yoruichi thought for a while and said, let's do it. If I lose, I will give you a pet cat. A string of black lines appeared on Qian Ye's head. What does he want a pet cat, Rua? He has a girlfriend now, does he still need a Rua cat? Not waiting for Qian Ye to agree. Yoruichi took Qian Ye and walked outside, it's so happy to decide. 5 minutes later, Qian Ye and Broken Bee were standing outside the 4th division, where they were fighting before. Yoruichi pointed to the 11th division defensive zone. Qian Ye, let's try to see who gets to Kurosaki Ichigo first. Qian Ye nodded. Yoruichi added. Only Shunpo is allowed to move. Qian Ye nodded again. Yoruichi then looked at Broken Bee with an excited expression. Broken Bee, you come to count down. The reason why Broken Bee is so excited is naturally because she seems to have returned to 110 years, when Yoruichi was the captain of the 2nd division. At that time, when Yoruichi competed against Shunpo, she was also responsible for the countdown. This feeling of going back to the time she remembered before is so good. Broken Bee raised his right hand high. Brush. The moment Broken Bee put down his right hand, Qian Ye and Broken Bee had disappeared in place. There are 3 criteria to measure Shunpo's strength. 1 is the speed of use. 1 is the distance moved. 1 is the reaction of use. The reason why Yoruichi is called Flash Goddess is because she has almost achieved the ultimate in these 3 aspects. The first is extremely fast response. Even in the face of a completely unexpected sudden attack, Yoruichi can react instantly and use Shunpo to avoid it for the first time. Then there is the speed of use. When Yoruichi uses Shunpo, it gives people an extremely smooth feeling. The speed is so fast that people can't react at all. Then it is the distance of 543 moves. 110 years ago, Yoruichi used the distance traveled by Shunpo to crush all Shinigami of Soul Society. Including the captain, Yamamoto Motoinagi Sai Shigekuni. Certainly, the distance that Yoruichi and Qian Ye use Shunpo to move at this moment is directly beyond the range that Unohana Retsu and Shattered Bee can see. Qian Ye and Yoruichi's Shunpo can move extremely far. The Broken Bee sensed Qian Ye and Yoruichi's Reiatsu, and said in surprise. This is impossible. How could Qian Ye use Shunpo to move farther than Master Yoruichi? Qian Ye's spiritual power and Reiatsu level. When Qian Ye does not use spiritual power and Reiatsu, others cannot perceive it. When Qian Ye uses spiritual power and Reiatsu, others can perceive it. Unohana Retsu naturally sensed this, and said with a smile, it seems that the name of Flash Goddess is about to change. Through Unohana Retsu's perception, she knew that Qian Ye had already separated from Yoruichi. Yoruichi was also shocked by Qian Ye's Shunpo. Quickly, after Yoruichi turned on the instant mode. All aspects of using Shunpo have been improved. Therefore, Yoruichi caught up with Qian Ye. Qian Ye only then understood. Yoruichi and him test Shunko as false, continue to test him as true. Chapter 167. Yoruichi, out of breath, 3x. Advertise here. After Qian Ye guessed this, he looked at Yoruichi who came to him and asked. Yoruichi, the reason you agreed to compete Shunko with me is not because you really want to take away Ishida Yulong and others, but because you are still unwilling and want to see my Shunko for yourself. Yoruichi saw Qian Ye see her real purpose, not only did not feel guilty, but smiled. Qian Ye, if you refuse to use Shunhua, then wait to lose. After Yoruichi finished speaking, he fully used Shunko, and soon distanced himself from Qian Ye. Qian Ye looked at Yoruichi's back slowly disappearing. Yoruichi, although I don't care about losing to you. But, do you think I can't use Shunko to beat you without Shunko? Yoruichi, you look down on me too much. After Qian Ye finished speaking, he did not choose to use instant coax, but slowly pulled out his Zanpakuto. Qian Ye held Zanpakuto with his right hand and raised it so that the tip of the knife faced forward. Then, Qian Ye put his left hand on Zanpakuto's knife center. At the same time, Qian Ye chanted softly, Bankai, Jukalian Fang. As Qian Ye chanted Jifangyu, Zanpakuto in Qian Ye's hands changed. After Qian Ye Bankai, Reiatsu's was improved. Therefore, Qian Ye used Shunko at this time, and the distance he moved was naturally greatly improved. After Qian Ye Bankai, he played Shunko with all his strength. Soon, Qian Ye used Shunko to catch up with Yoruichi, who had already left him behind. Yoruichi looked at Yoruichi who was catching up, naturally shocked. He didn't expect Qian Ye to be able to move Shunko more than her who turned on the instant mode without using instant opening. Qian Ye kept the same steps as Yoruichi and turned to look at Yoruichi. Yoruichi, sorry, even if I don't use Shunkai, Shunko doesn't seem to lose to you. Damn it. Yoruichi was ridiculed by Qian Ye, naturally very unwilling. Yoruichi, at your Shunko level, do you really use Flash Goddess? Yoruichi, shouldn't it be that when other Shinigami competes with you again, they all think that you are the head of Shihuan's house, so let me give you water. Or, at the time, you used your family to put pressure on those Shinigami, such as kidnapping their family and friends. If they dare to beat you, you will tear the ticket. Yoruichi saw Qian Ye talk more and more, knowing that Qian Ye didn't really question her as a person, but deliberately stimulated her. So, Yoruichi shouted to Qian Ye, you shut up. Will Qian Ye shut up obediently? The answer is naturally no. Yo-yo, Yoruichi, you were said by me, so you became angry from embarrassment. What a pity, you are so arrogant this time that you forgot to kidnap my friend to threaten me. Yoruichi can't stand it anymore, but she can't get rid of Qian Ye. Qian Ye saw that Yoruichi was so angry that he continued, Yoruichi, I haven't met your Shikai and Bankai yet. Can you let me see it? This is why Qian Ye keeps stimulating Yoruichi. Yoruichi wants to see Qian Ye's instant opening. Qian Ye wants to meet Yoruichi's Shikai and Bankai. Yoruichi blushed and said, don't think about it. Isn't it Shikai and Bankai? Qian Ye really couldn't understand why Yoruichi blushed. Seeing that Yoruichi did not intend to show her Shikai and Bankai, Qian Ye felt a little depressed. I didn't expect him to be so exciting. Yoruichi is not fooled. Moreover, Yoruichi even blushes when she mentions her Shikai and Bankai. I really can't figure it out. Never mind. Qian Ye plans to find opportunities to explore Shikai and Bankai in Yoruichi in the future. Since Yoruichi did not intend to show her Shikai and Bankai, Qian Ye did not continue to waste time. Then I will wait for you at Kurosaki Ichigo, Qian Ye said, and began to use Shunko with all his strength. Yoruichi was shocked, because she found that unless she turns on Bankai, she can't catch up with Qian Ye at all. Yoruichi bit her lip and thought for a while, and finally chose to give up. Qian Ye, I'm not in a hurry, I don't believe it, you will never use the moment in front of me. If I lose, don't I want to give you a pet cat? Humph, you can't think of it, that pet cat is me. Yoruichi doesn't know yet, Qian Ye knows that she can become a black cat form. Moreover, after Yoruichi becomes a black cat, not only her voice will change, but her Reiatsu will also change accordingly. Certainly, no matter how Yoruichi's Reiatsu changes after becoming a black cat. Always the same as her original Reiatsu. So, today, when she and Qian Ye were fighting outside the 4th division, Ishida Yulong and others didn't realize that she was the black cat for the first time. After being reminded by Qian Ye, Ishida Yulong and others discovered this. When Qian Ye and Yoruichi competed against Shunko, Zaraki Kenpachi, who wanted to go to the 4th division to heal his injuries, was guided by Kusajishi Yakiru. Successfully, we are farther and farther away from the 4th division. When the two of them reacted, they had already arrived at the outskirts of Yulington. Aegean, we seem to have gone wrong. Zaraki Kenpachi was silent for a while before he said, I'm almost done, I won't go to the 4th division. Aegean, are you really okay? Shut up. I said it was okay if I said it was okay. Oh, a gust of wind blows. Do not know why. Both Zaraki Kenpachi and Kusajishi Yakiru feel a little sad. Qian Ye used Shunko to go behind the 11th division defensive area. Qian Ye sensed Yoruichi's Reiatsu and found that Yoruichi seemed to have given up. Yes, after Yoruichi knew that she could not catch up with Qian Ye, he cancelled the instant open mode. Qian Ye also relieved Bankai, and then continued to use Shunpo, rushing in the direction of Kurosaki Ichigo Reiatsu. When Qian Ye came to Kurosaki Ichigo, the fight between Kurosaki Ichigo and Byakuya Kuchiki has just ended. When Kurosaki Ichigo fought Byakuya Kuchiki, and when he fought Zaraki Kenpachi, they had two stances. Because Kurosaki Ichigo is very angry with Byakuya Kuchiki. He felt that Byakuya Kuchiki was a cold-blooded person who didn't even care about the life and death of his sister. Therefore, Kurosaki Ichigo used almost all his power when fighting Byakuya Kuchiki. In order to knock Byakuya Kuchiki down. And poor Byakuya Kuchiki. The captain of the dignified 6th division, the 28th generation of the Kuchiki family. Jingran was defeated by Kurosaki Ichigo, who had just gained the power of Shinigami. I don't kill you because you are Rukia's brother. Kurosaki Ichigo finished speaking, put away Zanpakuto and prepared to leave. But he just stopped walking a few steps. Chapter 168. Kurosaki Ichigo who finally knows the truth, 1x. Advertise here. Kurosaki Ichigo stopped and turned to look aside. Qian Ye was slowly walking towards this side from the direction Kurosaki Ichigo was looking at. Kurosaki Ichigo battled with Zaraki Kenpachi and Byakuya Kuchiki consecutively, and at this time he was also wounded. And Kurosaki Ichigo asked himself, even if he is in peak state now, he is not Qian Ye's opponent. Qian Ye, you won the competition with Yoruichi's Shunpo, and you won the hidden event reward, Spiritual Power Plus 100. Kurosaki Ichigo is very unwilling. He has mastered Bankai and has experienced battles with two Shinigami captains. Could it be that I still have to stop here? Kurosaki Ichigo was very unwilling, and as he was unwilling, a voice suddenly sounded in Kurosaki Ichigo's heart. Kurosaki Ichigo, you are really useless, let me come. Ah, Qian Ye didn't pay attention to Kurosaki Ichigo, but came to Byakuya Kuchiki, took out a special healing pill and took it to Byakuya Kuchiki. Then, in order for Byakuya Kuchiki to recover quickly, Qian Ye started to treat Byakuya Kuchiki with Kaido. At this time, Qian Ye stopped using Kaido to Byakuya Kuchiki. Because Kurosaki Ichigo looked a little bit painful at this time, and a mask appeared on his face 547. Qian Ye stood up. Finally, Kurosaki Ichigo thinks please do it. However, Kurosaki Ichigo pulled off the unformed mask on his face, and then he kept panting with horror in his eyes. Cut. Qian Ye thought that Shubai was about to come out. As a result, Kong Huan was very happy. So Qian Ye continued to squat down and used Kaido on Byakuya Kuchiki to help him heal his injuries. Byakuya Kuchiki was seriously injured and did not notice the changes that had just occurred to Kurosaki Ichigo. After Kurosaki Ichigo ripped off the mask, Qian Ye didn't seem to have the intention to shoot him. When Kurosaki Ichigo saw this, naturally he hurriedly showed his figure and left here and headed to the Palace of Confession. Since Qian Ye didn't stop him, he naturally wanted to rush to the Confession Palace as soon as possible to rescue Rukia Kuchiki. After Kurosaki Ichigo left, Byakuya Kuchiki weakly said, thank you. Qian Ye smiled and said, Captain Kuchiki, are you facing Kurosaki Ichigo, who Ishin wants to save your sister, risking being killed, and don't want to fight with all your strength? Byakuya Kuchiki turned his head away, not daring to look at Qian Ye's playful eyes. I do not know what you're talking about. Ha ha ha, I didn't say anything. Qian Ye saw Byakuya Kuchiki, but he still didn't want to admit his feelings for Rukia Kuchiki, and he did not continue. Aren't you going to stop Kurosaki Ichigo? Byakuya Kuchiki asked. Qian Ye said. Kurosaki Ichigo just wants to rescue Rukia, and Rukia doesn't need to save him at all, just let him go. Byakuya Kuchiki looked in the direction of the Confession Palace. Feeling relieved in my heart. He has been caring for Rukia Kuchiki, who is afraid of being hurt, and has made a real friend. Fei Zhen, you may be able to rest in peace. Soon. Yoruichi arrived at Qian Ye. At this point, Byakuya Kuchiki has sat up and his injuries are no longer serious. I have long heard that the special healing medicine you let Kuretsuchi Mayuri develop is amazing. I didn't expect it to have such a strong effect. That's all because Brother Nirvana is great. Kuretsuchi Mayuri has indeed developed good things this time. Byakuya Kuchiki naturally believed Qian Ye's words. After all, Kuretsuchi Mayuri is a scientist, and no matter how powerful Qian Ye is, it is impossible to develop a pill with this effect. After Yoruichi arrived here, he was a little surprised to find that Kurosaki Ichigo was not here. Yoruichi still knows the strength of Byakuya Kuchiki. Unexpectedly, Kurosaki Ichigo could defeat Byakuya Kuchiki soon after gaining the power of Shinigami. Really, Urahara Kazuki did not misunderstand people, Kurosaki Ichigo is indeed a trustworthy existence. Qian Ye, you won the Shunpo contest. After this event, I will send you, CDEJ, the pet cat I lost to you. Qian Ye waved his hand and said, no, I am not interested in Rua cat. Yoruichi firmly said, no, Yoruichi has always been willing to bet. A string of black lines appeared on Qian Ye's head. Yoruichi turned and walked in the direction of the Confession Palace. Now, both her and Urahara Kazuki's previous expectations have been achieved. Kurosaki Ichigo not only learned Bankai in 3 days under the stimulation of Master Saraite Shinigami. And Kurosaki Ichigo has successfully possessed the strength that can defeat the Captain Shinigami. So, now this matter should come to an end. What Yoruichi has to do now is to catch up with Kurosaki Ichigo and tell Kurosaki Ichigo the news that Rukia Kuchiki is okay. When Yoruichi caught up with Kurosaki Ichigo has broken into the Confession Palace and is facing off with Shinigami, a team guarding the Confession Palace. Kurosaki Ichigo, who was about to do it, looked at Yoruichi and was happy. Yoruichi, you are here. Ishida, are they all right? Yoruichi said. Kurosaki, don't worry, Ishida and the others are fine. Kurosaki Ichigo said, Rukia was imprisoned inside, let's rescue Rukia together, and then leave Soul Society and return to the world. At this time, in the Confession Palace, Rukia Kuchiki is looking at Kurosaki Ichigo from the window. She didn't expect Kurosaki Ichigo to risk coming to Soul Society to save her, and she was naturally moved in her heart. To know, Rukia Kuchiki and Kurosaki Ichigo have only been together in this world for less than a month. Yes, because of Qian Ye, Rukia Kuchiki, who was supposed to stay in this world for 2 months, actually only stayed in this world for less than 1 month. Kurosaki, I recently found out that Rukia was actually imprisoned in the Confession Palace for repentance. Kurosaki Ichigo was taken aback. Yoruichi, are you saying that Rukia will not be punished by Sōgyoku? Yoruichi nodded. Originally, Rukia was to be sentenced to Sōgyoku because it was a conspiracy by the captain of the Gotei 13 Banhara 5th Division. Conspiracy. That's right, Aizen Sōsuke, the former captain of the 5th Division, wants to use the power of double to take out Hōgyoku from Rukia. Kurosaki Ichigo became confused as he listened. Hōgyoku. What is that? Yoruichi said, I'll explain this to you later. In short, Qian Ye, after we returned to Soul Society, exposed Aizen Sōsuke's conspiracy, and then let Rukia exempt Sōgyoku from punishment. Now Rukia only needs to be in the Confession Palace. After a few days of introspection, it can be released. Kurosaki Ichigo asked. Really? Yoruichi nodded firmly. Sorry, I didn't know the truth before. Oh, you are not to blame, as long as Rukia is all right. Chapter 169. The Travel Accident. The curtain ends. 2x. Advertise here. That night, the first team captain meeting room. The captains of Gotei 13th Division are all gathered here. Also here, there are Kurosaki Ichigo and Yoruichi. As for Ishida Yulong and others, they are still in the 4th Division. However, the 4th Division has already lifted the imprisonment of Ishida Ryu and others. After Yamamoto Motoi Nagisai Shigekuni knew the truth, he slammed the crutches in his hand. I have already understood the matter. Since it is a misunderstanding, then let this matter go away. Although, this matter is quite suspicious. Yamamoto Motoi Nagisai Shigekuni did not pursue it deeply. And, now Yoruichi is here, but Yamamoto Motoi Nagisai Shigekuni is when Yoruichi does not exist. Did not mention something 110 years ago. Yamamoto Motonuzai Shigekuni didn't mention it, naturally no one would mention those past events. After all, none of the people present are fools. If Yamamoto wanted to mention it, he would have said it himself, and there was no need to wait for them to speak. Kurosaki Ichigo said. Rukia is innocent, can she be released from the Confession Palace in advance, and then let her follow me back to the world? Yamamoto Motoinagi Saijukuni did not answer, but Byakuya Kuchiki stood up. Byakuya Kuchiki's injury has fully recovered. He even changed his clothes before coming to the meeting. After Byakuya Kuchiki stood up, he said, it is not up to you to decide whether Kurosaki Ichigo, Rukia will stay in Soul Society or go to the world with you. Kurosaki Ichigo said. Yes, Rukia wants to stay in the Soul Society, or go to the world with me, it should be Rukia's own decision. Yamamoto Genryu Saiju National Road. Rukia is going to stay, it's up to you, Rukia decides for himself. Now Qian Ye and Yoruichi stay, and the rest will leave. Unohana Retsu glanced at Qian Ye, and after seeing Qian Ye smile at her, then left with the other captains. After the other captains left, Yoruichi was not polite and found a seat by himself. Yep, before, she was standing in the hall with Kurosaki Ichigo. Yamamoto Motoinagi Saiju National Road. Yoruichi, I don't know what you and Uruhara Kazuki are going to do, but our current common enemy is Aizen Sōsuke. Yoruichi said, Captain, please rest assured, even though Uruhara and I have left Soul Society, they will not do anything against Soul Society. Yamamoto Motoinagi Saiju, this is the best way. If you want to do something with Soul Society, I won't just sit idly by. Yoruichi smiled, but did not answer. Yamamoto Yuanlujai Shigekoku looked at Qian Ye who was yawning and said, Qian Ye, are you sleepy? Qian Ye said, well, I am not sleepy, but a little bored. A string of black lines appeared on Yamamoto's head. This is the attitude that Qian Ye, the captain of the 5th Division team, should have when he was left to talk by the captain of him, and what should be said. Yoruichi laughed out loud. Yoruichi still can't see through Qian Ye, but she thinks Qian Ye is very close to her appetite. Yep, Qian Ye is really an interesting person. Yamamoto Genryu Saijukoku thought. Does he want face? Then, Yamamoto Genryu Sai Shigekuni said with a stern face. Qian Ye, I am the captain of the Gotei 13th Division 1, and even the captain of Saraiti Shinigami, should you give me the respect you deserve? Qian Ye was taken aback. Old man Yamamoto, do you think Qian Ye doesn't give him face? But, face is worthless. Especially the face of others is even less worth mentioning. Qian Ye said. Captain, I, Qian Ye, is the captain of the 5th Division of the 13th and 5th Division of Hudding. My duty is to guard Saraiti. Yamamoto Genryu Sai Shigekuni heard that. Not only was he not angry, but rarely laughed in front of others. Ha ha ha, Qian Ye, you are right. I didn't expect that I have lived for so many years, and I haven't seen you as a teenager who was only a teenager. Yes, the captain of Gotei 13th Division is the captain of the guards of Saraiti and Soul Society, not just my subordinate of Yamamoto Genryu Sai Shigekuni. If all the captains can have the consciousness of Qian Ye, then I won't worry about the future of Soul Society at all. Then it was Yoruichi's turn that a black line appeared on his head. Seeing Qian Ye confronting Yamamoto Yuanlujai Chonguo face to face, she thought the old man was going to be angry. Unexpectedly, Yamamoto Genryu Sai Shigekuni made a compromise. For flowers, Yoruichi, if you are okay, leave first. Whether you want to stay in Soul Society or return to this world, you decide for yourself. Captain, there will be a period later. After Yoruichi finished speaking, he got up and left the meeting room. Qian Ye also got up and prepared to leave, but was stopped by Yamamoto Genryujai Shigekuni. Qian Ye, wait a moment. Qian Ye sat down again. Captain, shouldn't you not give you face because of me in front of Yoruichi, are you angry? Yamamoto Genryu Saiju National Road. Qian Ye, I have always been very nice to you. I even thought that after the Aizen Sōsuke incident is over, the position of captain will be passed to you. I think Soul Society will definitely not be like this under your leadership. As it is now, there is still class corruption. Yamamoto doesn't know where Shigekuni Motoinagi, the current Soul Society class is too clear. The ghosts of Rukongai, some can live safely, while others are hungry. Especially those wandering souls in the 80 district are always in danger of their lives. The nobles in Saraiti are full of luxury all day long. This is obviously unreasonable. Although Yamamoto Motoinagisai Shigekuni knew this, he couldn't change it very well. After all, things like class exist no matter in that world. This is not something you can do if you want to erase it. Yamamoto Yuanlujai Chonguo couldn't do it himself, he thought, maybe Qian Ye can solve it. Qian Ye was very surprised after listening to Yamamoto Yuanlujai Chonguo's words. He didn't expect this old man to give way to him. Qian Ye didn't understand whether Yamamoto Yuanlujai Chonguo really valued him so much, or he was testing him in this way. Qian Ye didn't understand, so he didn't continue to think about it. Because Qian Ye had never coveted the position of captain. The higher the position is in Qian Ye's mind, it is not a representative of greater power, but it means that his work is more and more tiring. Qian Ye said, Captain, you are always strong, why would you think of giving way to me? Yamamoto Genryu Saiju National Road. Soul Society will belong to your younger generation sooner or later, and I will give way sooner or later. Fan. Chapter 170. Brother or brother-in-law. 3x. Advertise here. Qian Ye was speechless. Qian Ye didn't believe in the consciousness of Yamamoto Yuanlujai. If Yamamoto Genryu Saijukoku really had this consciousness, he would not have been the captain ever since he became the captain. For more than 2,000 years. When this world grows up, it is enough for several civilizations to replace. Therefore, Qian Ye believes that Yamamoto Yuanlujai Chonguo wants to test him. Qian Ye said, Captain, you don't have to test me. I always do whatever I want. I have no interest in rights. For Qian Ye's words, Yamamoto Yuanlujai Chonguo believed. If Qian Ye values power, facing the current position of captain of the 5th Division, he would not be so lazy and slippery. Qian Ye continued, as long as Soul Society lives up to me, I will definitely live up to Soul Society. Shallow. 547, Ye said, changing the front. If Soul Society loses me and no one else, I, Qian Ye, will personally destroy Soul Society. Qian Ye's current strength has enough capital to say something. Yamamoto Motoinagi Saijukuni remained silent and did not speak anymore. Obviously, Yamamoto Yuanlujai Chonguo was shocked by Qian Ye's words, that Qian Ye personally caused the destruction of Soul Society without others. Qian Ye, don't worry, Soul Society will not lose you. Qian Ye also said, the captain can also rest assured that Qian Ye will not lose Soul Society. Ha ha ha, Yamamoto Yuanlujai Zonguo smiled again. Qian Ye, I have understood your intentions. Qian Ye stood up. So, then I will withdraw. Go. When Qian Ye and Yoruichi were left by Yamamoto to talk, Kurosaki Ichigo came to the confession palace and met Rukia Kuchiki, who was reflecting on it here. Ichigo, you idiot. The first sentence Rukia Kuchiki saw Kurosaki Ichigo was to scold Kurosaki Ichigo. Kurosaki Ichigo smiled and said, Rukia, sorry, I was impulsive. Rukia Kuchiki said, don't be so stupid in the future, even if I really will be punished by Sokyoku, you don't need to save me. Rukia, aren't we friends? And because you gave me the power of Shinigami, how can I not come to save you? You are a fool. Kurosaki Ichigo did not continue to struggle with this issue, but said, Rukia, the captain has agreed, as long as you are willing to come back to the world with me, now you can go with me. Kurosaki Ichigo said, reaching out to Rukia Kuchiki. Pity. Rukia Kuchiki did not hand Kurosaki Ichigo. Rukia Kuchiki said, sorry, Ichigo, I want to stay in Soul Society. Yes. Kurosaki Ichigo was not angry, nor lost, but smiled instead. Since it's your own decision, Rukia, then I respect you. If you want to come to this world anytime, I'm always welcome. Rukia Kuchiki also smiled and said, Ichigo, I am not allowed to need your approval in this world, and this world is not yours. Kurosaki Ichigo laughed and said, then Rukia, if you are in this world, you are welcome to come to me at any time. Good. Later, Soul Society decided to arrange Kurosaki Ichigo and others to leave Soul Society. After the door to the world is opened, Kurosaki Ichigo and others are about to return to this world. Jashiro Yukitake appeared. Jashiro Yukitake gave Kurosaki Ichigo the certificate of acting for Shinigami and told Kurosaki Ichigo about the use of Shinigami's certificate. After Kurosaki Ichigo accepted the Agent Shinigami's certificate, he and Ishida Ryu and others stepped into the crossing gate and stepped into the broken boundary. The boundary at this time is different from when Kurosaki Ichigo and others came. The restraints inside have been processed by Soul Society Shinigami, which can ensure that Kurosaki Ichigo and others will not encounter restraints when they pass. As for the conflict, it will not happen. Because Shinigami of Soul Society chose that there will be no time for the sudden emergence to open the gate. Kurosaki Ichigo and others left Soul Society 3 days later. Rukia Kuchiki walked out of the Confession Palace. Rukia Kuchiki smiled at Byakuya Kuchiki who came to pick her up in person. The smile is like a blooming flower, so beautiful. These days, Rukia Kuchiki knows everything that Byakuya Kuchiki has done for her. Original. Byakuya Kuchiki cares about her so much. Rukia, I have something to tell you. Brother, please speak. Follow me to a place. Byakuya Kuchiki took Rukia Kuchiki to Kuchiki Hyjin's grave. Byakuya Kuchiki gently stroked Kuchiki's tombstone with tenderness in his eyes. Rukia, you should know Hyjin. My sister. Well, I married your sister. Byakuya Kuchiki told Rukia Kuchiki everything. Only then did Rukia Kuchiki know that Byakuya Kuchiki was her brother-in-law. And the reason why Byakuya Kuchiki brought her to Kuchiki's house and recognized her as a righteous sister was not all her previous guesses. Rather, because this is her sister Feijun's last words. Brother me. Rukia Kuchiki still called Byakuya Kuchiki the elder brother after learning the truth. After all, now Rukia Kuchiki is Byakuya Kuchiki's righteous sister. Besides, the brother-in-law is considered to be the elder brother. Rukia, you have grown up, and I will not restrict you anymore. From now on you will follow your own path. I will not stop you. Tears appeared in Rukia Kuchiki's eyes. I don't know if she missed her sister, or was moved by Byakuya Kuchiki's care for her. It turns out that over the years, Byakuya Kuchiki did not look down on her, but to protect her. Brother, I have a knot in my heart, I want to make a knot. Byakuya Kuchiki said. Is it about Shiba Kaien? Rukia Kuchiki looked at Byakuya Kuchiki with some surprise. Byakuya Kuchiki wiped her tears and said, I know all the things you have experienced over the years. I don't blame you for Shiba Kaien. In fact, the 4.9 wave of Kaien really needs to be counted, but Aizen Sōsuke killed him. Byakuya Kuchiki knew that it was Aizen Sōsuke's conspiracy. Naturally, Yoruichi told the Queen Broken Bee the truth of 110 years. Broken Bee reported the truth to a team in order to clear the wrongs to Yoruichi. After that, the first team compiled the report of the Broken Bee into a document and distributed it to the various teams. Byakuya Kuchiki had seen the document, so he knew about it. However, Byakuya Kuchiki did not tell Byakuya Kuchiki about this. Byakuya Kuchiki was afraid that Rukia Kuchiki would go to Aizen Sōsuke to take revenge after learning about it. If that's the case, it's too dangerous. Even if Rukia Kuchiki has grown up over the years, his strength is good. But Rukia Kuchiki and Aizen Sōsuke are still incomparable. Not to mention, there is the whole Hueco Mundo behind Aizen Sōsuke. Chapter 171. Accompany Rukia to Shiba's house 1x. Rukia Kuchiki said. After all, I personally killed Captain Kaien. I want to apologize to the family of Deputy Captain Kaien. No matter how they treat me, I am willing to accept it. Byakuya Kuchiki learned from Shiba Iwawushi that the Shiba family has always had a grudge about Rukia Kuchiki's killing of Shiba Kaien. Therefore, Byakuya Kuchiki apologized to Rukia Kuchiki personally to Shiba's house, and his heart was full of worries. But, he just said to Rukia Kuchiki that the future way is for Rukia Kuchiki to go by himself. It is natural that it is not easy for him to stop Rukia Kuchiki. Byakuya Kuchiki thought of a person in his mind. So, Byakuya Kuchiki said, Rukia, it seems that you have really grown up, and now you can face your heart not directly. Rukia Kuchiki said, I can't always hide under the protection of my brother. Byakuya Kuchiki said, Rukia, if you want to go to Shiba's house, go to Qian Ye, let Qian Ye go with you. Ah, Qian Ye is now the captain of the 5th division, how can I trouble him? I just go by myself, I. Byakuya Kuchiki interrupted Rukia Kuchiki's words. when Asa 23 boss sent Shiba Iwasu to leave, he was very interested in the fireworks at Shiba's house. Go to him. He just had an excuse to leave Seraiti and watch the fireworks at Shiba's house. Is that right? Byakuya Kuchiki nodded, then looked at Kuchiki's tombstone and said, go, I want to accompany him again. Rukia Kuchiki bowed deeply towards Kuchiki's tombstone, and then left. Byakuya Kuchiki looked at the back of Rukia Kuchiki's departure and said, Hyjin, now that Rukia has really grown up, you can rest in peace. After Rukia Kuchiki left, Byakuya Kuchiki hurriedly displayed his figure and took a shortcut to the 5th Division. The 5th Division Team House. Qian Ye looked at Byakuya Kuchiki panting. Captain Kuchiki, what makes you so anxious? Qian Ye, I'm too late to explain, I hope you do me a favor. Qian Ye is very curious, what makes Byakuya Kuchiki so anxious? Oh, good. Byakuya Kuchiki saw that Qian Ye agreed, and said quickly. In a while, Rukia will come to you and ask you to accompany her to Shiba's house. Could you please tell Rukia that you have always wanted to go to Shiba's house to watch the fireworks, and then promise Rukia to go to Shiba's house with her? Oh, that's it. It turned out to be Rukia Kuchiki's business. No wonder Byakuya Kuchiki behaved like this. Originally, Qian Ye was not interested in the fireworks at Shiba's house. At this moment, after hearing the mention of Byakuya Kuchiki, I was really interested. Can be called Soul Society's unique, Shiba's fireworks, how on earth? Just take advantage of this opportunity, go take a look. Then, good. Rukia is coming in a while, I'm leaving now. Byakuya Kuchiki left as he said, and when he walked to the door, he paused. Qian Ye, don't tell Rukia, I've been here. Oh, I understand. Less than 5 minutes after Byakuya Kuchiki left, Rukia Kuchiki arrived. Ms. Rukia, why did you come to me? Qian Ye asked actively. Rukia Kuchiki was a little embarrassed and said, Captain Qian Ye, can you accompany me to Shiba's house? Brother, he is worried that I will go to Rukongai alone. With a surprise on Qian Ye's face, he asked, is it the Shiba's first-class firework maker? Seeing Qian Ye's expression, Rukia Kuchiki immediately believed Byakuya Kuchiki's words. It seems that Qian Ye is really interested in the fireworks at Shiba's house. So, Rukia Kuchiki nodded. Yes. Okay, I've long wanted to see the fireworks at Shiba's house. Rukongai. Qian Ye looked at the iconic building not far in front. Finally found. Rukia Kuchiki looked at the exaggerated sign in front of Shiba's house, and a string of black lines appeared on his head. She never thought of it. Shiba's house, once one of the 5 nobles, lived in a building that was made of sauce. Captain Qian Ye, thank you for bringing me here. Qian Ye remembered Byakuya Kuchiki's secret entrustment to him, and said, Teacher Rukia, you don't need to thank me. I would like to thank you. If it wasn't for you, I would not find an excuse to leave Seraiti and come here. Since Aizen Sōsuke defected to Soul Society with Ichimaru Jin and Tusen Kanami. The team leader Yamamoto Motoyajisai Shigekuni gave a name. Before the Aizen Sōsuke incident was resolved, all captains and deputy captains of Gotei 13th Division are not allowed to leave Seraiti without an order. Let's go over. Yes, although Rukia Kuchiki has made up his mind, his heart is still full of ambition at this moment. She looked at the back of Qian Ye, who was the first to walk towards Shiba's house, and she was slightly relieved. Fortunately, Qian Ye accompanied her. Soon, Qian Ye and Rukia Kuchiki came to Shiba's house. At this moment, it happened to meet Shiba Iwawushi with his little brother, and from another direction, riding on their mount a boar, ran over. Shiba Iwawuji beckoned to let his little brothers leave. The little brothers of Shiba Iwasu did not leave, but hid from the side, looking at this side. Curiosity is admired. The more Shiba Iwa 547 eagles didn't want them to be there, the more they wanted to know what would happen next. When Shiba Rock Eagle came to Qian Ye and Rukia Kuchiki, the 2 servants of Shiba's house. Jin Yan and Yin Yan also came out. Kinhako and Ginhako stand behind Shiba Iwasu, acting as Shiba Iwasu's bodyguards. Don't say it yet. Jin Yan and Yin Yan, the 2 big men standing behind Shiba Iwawushi, really looked like that. Shiba Yanju looked at Qian Ye and said, Captain Qian Ye, why have you come to my house? Qian Ye smiled and said, the fireworks at your Shiba's house are famous throughout the Soul Society. I have always wanted to come and see them. Shiba Iwasui said, that's the fireworks of our Shiba's house. That's nothing to say, it's absolutely second to none. Suddenly, Shiba Iwawushi's voice changed and looked at Rukia Kuchiki and said, what are you doing here? Our Shiba family doesn't welcome you. Rukia Kuchiki bent down towards Shiba Iwawushi. I'm sorry, I came to apologize for what happened 110 years ago. Qian Ye said. Iwajiu, since teacher Rukia sincerely apologizes, no matter what kind of grievances between you, give her a chance. Shiba Iwajiu said. Does an apology make my brother come alive? So I don't need her apology, Captain Qian Ye, you have to watch the fireworks. Our Shiba house arranges for you, but she is not allowed to step into my Shiba house. Quote. Chapter 172. Shiba Sky Crane, call me Sky Crane Sister, 2x. Qian Ye ignored the obviously impulsive Shiba Stone Buzzard. Instead, look behind Shiba Iwawushi. Rock Eagle. When Shiba Iwawari heard this sound, he stopped. The person who calls Shiba Iwawushi's name is naturally the contemporary patriarch of Shiba's family, Shiba Sora Crane. Shiba Kora came out of the house, and then came to Shiba Iwasu with a calm face. Shiba Kong glanced at Rukia Kuchiki, then smiled a lot, Qian Ye. Then he said, "Follow me in." After Shiba Kong finished speaking, he walked towards the house. Qian Ye followed, and when Rukia Kuchiki wanted to follow, he was stopped by Shiba Rock Eagle. Shiba Iwawari opened his hand to stop Rukia Kuchiki, and said angrily, "You can't go in." Shiba Sorazuru paused, turned around and came to Shiba Iwawa, and put his forehead on Shiba Iwawa's forehead. Rock Eagle, who is the owner of this family? Shiba Iwawushi was frightened by Shiba Sora's aura, and he was already afraid of his sister. Shiba Iwasu said with a little timidity, "Sister, you are the owner of the house." Shiba Kong asked, "Who has the final say in this family?" Shiba Iwawushi replied, "Sister, you have the final say." Shiba Sora Crane shouted at Shiba Iwasu, "Then you still don't let go." Although Shiba Iwasu was not reconciled, he did not dare to disobey Shiba Sora's orders, lowering his head and stepping aside. Shiba Kong turned around and continued to walk towards the house. Rukia Kuchiki gritted his teeth and followed. Qian Ye didn't speak during the whole process. This matter is between Rukia Kuchiki and Shiba's family, and Qian Ye knows that as long as Rukia Kuchiki apologizes to Shiba Sorasuru himself, this matter can be turned over. Qian Ye didn't need to intervene. 10 minutes later. In the yard of Shiba's house. Jin Yan and Yin Yan looked like two Buddha statues, with their eyes slightly closed, standing motionless on the left and right sides of the courtyard. Qian Ye and Shiba Kong were sitting under the eaves and drinking tea. The tea was very fragrant. Shiba Iwasu stood aside. Rukia Kuchiki is standing in the courtyard. Shiba Iwasu kept his face straight and stared at Rukia Kuchiki who was standing in the yard. Rukia Kuchiki looked at Shiba Sorasuru with a look of guilt. Yep, the picture is a bit strange and the atmosphere is a bit awkward. Shiba Kong picked up the teacup and looked at Qian Ye with a smile. "Captain Qian Ye, thank you for taking care of this unsuspecting boy at Zaraki. I will toast you with tea instead of wine." Qian Ye picked up the teacup and drank it before saying, "Actually, I didn't help much, but this tea is good tea." Shiba Sorasuru saw that Shiba Iwawushi had been glaring at Rukia Kuchiki since he came in, and drank him. "Smelly boy, don't you still add tea to Captain Qian Ye?" Shiba Rock Eagle, who had been staring at Rukia Kuchiki, hurried over to pour tea for Qian Ye. For Qian Ye, Shiba Rock Eagle admires him in his heart. It's not that Qian Ye did anything great to him, Shiba Rock Eagle. But Qian Ye's talent and strength. In Shiba Yanjo's mind, Qian Ye is an out-and-out genius. Shiba Yanju saw his brother Shiba Qian's shadow on Qian Ye. His brother Shiba Qian is also a genius. Therefore, Shiba Rock Eagle has an inexplicable feeling for Qian Ye. It seems that Qian Ye's achievement is to help Shiba Qian realize the ambition that has been impossible. After Shiba Yanju poured tea for Qian Ye, he smiled and said, "Captain Qian Ye, this is a good tea my sister can't bear to drink." "Then I am so honored." Qian Ye picked up the teacup and smelled it, and then drank it again. Shiba Patriarch. Just call me Air Crane Sister. Qian Ye was a little speechless. Dry. Shiba Kong is trying to take advantage of him. But who made him younger? Even if Qian Ye 2 generations is a human, the total is less than 40 years old. Shiba Kong has lived in Soul Society for hundreds of years. Qian Ye's name is Shiba Kong's sister, and it seems that there is nothing wrong with it. Although Qian Ye didn't intend to help, the atmosphere couldn't be so embarrassing forever. So Qian Ye found a topic. "Sister Air Crane, I heard that the fireworks at your Shiba's house are unique. Can you let me see it?" Shiba Kong heard the words and shouted, "Jin Yan Yin Yan." Jin Yan and Yin Yan shouted in unison, "Yes. Go prepare the fireworks." Yes. Jin Yan and Yin Yan left the yard after answering, and walked towards the back of the house. After Shiba Kong gave instructions to Jin Yan and Yin Yan, he looked at Qian Ye and said, "It takes time to prepare the fireworks. It just happens to be late at night. At that time, the fireworks will be beautiful." Qian Ye was naturally not in a hurry, and nodded and said, "Good." A few minutes later, Shiba Kong looked at Rukia Kuchiki standing in the courtyard. "You're here, isn't it to be a nursing home for my house, right? My Shiba house is now declining. It is enough to have 2 servants, Jin Yan and Yin Yan, but I can't afford the eldest lady of the Kuchiki family." Rukia Kuchiki hurriedly said, "I'm here to apologize for the matter of Deputy Captain Qian. You killed someone, can it be solved by apologizing?" Shiba Kong said solemnly. Rukia Kuchiki bends down towards Shiba Sorasuru deeply, "I'm sorry." Afterwards, Rukia Kuchiki paused and continued, "The Qian deputy captain's thing was my fault. I am here now. No matter what you want to do to me, I am willing to accept it." Shiba Iwasu excitedly said, "Don't be pretending to be here, you murderer of my brother, you." To shut up. After Shiba Iwawaku was berated by Shiba Kong, he stopped unwillingly. Shiba Kong said, "Rukia, if I want Li Ma Jiao, you will pay for 1 life." Rukia Kuchiki stood up straight, then closed his eyes and raised his neck. "This is what I owe Captain Qian. Let me deal with it. It seems that you have really made your enlightenment." But the truth of the year, I actually knew it from Jashiro Yukitake. I thought about it at the time. If you are willing to come and apologize to me personally, I will forgive you. When Rukia Kuchiki opened his eyes were already full of tears. It turned out that as long as she was willing to come and apologize, Shiba Kong would forgive her. It turns out that for so many years, she has always refused to let her go. It turned out that in the past, it was her own weakness that made her live in self-blame and grief. On the side, Shiba Iwawushi did not know the truth of the year, so seeing Shiba Sora Kuchiki wanted to forgive Rukia Kuchiki, he naturally refused. Sister, she killed my brother Shiba Qian with her own hands. How can she forgive her just because she apologized? Chapter 173, Shiba's Fireworks and Qian Ye's Answer, 1x. Advertise here. Next, Shiba Kong told the truth about what happened back then. Certainly, in the mouth of Shiba Sora Crane, Rukia Kuchiki is to help Shiba Qian free. There is no mention of Aizen Sōsuke, Hōgyoku, masks, etc. Obviously, when Jashiro Yukitake told Shiba Kong, he didn't mention that point. As for whether Jashiro Yukitake really didn't know anything about Aizen Sōsuke back then, or if he deliberately concealed it for some reason, it is unclear. Before Qian Ye came, he planned not to interfere, because Qian Ye knew that Shiba Kong was waiting for Rukia Kuchiki's personal apology. However, in order to prevent accidents, Qian Ye also made some preparations. At this time, Qian Ye took out the documents issued by the first team and handed them to Shiba Kong. Sister Air Crane, these are some of your friend Yoruichi's remarks about the events of the year, you can take a look. After Shiba Kong took the file and read it, his face sank. Aizen Sōsuke. Shiba Iwawari on the side was puzzled. Sister. Shiba Kong said, Captain Qian Ye, is this document okay for him to see? Shiba Kong nodded his head when he saw Qian Ye, and then handed the file in his hand to Shiba Iwasu, who was puzzled. After studying and reading the contents of the file, I suddenly became angry. 550. I'm going to kill Aizen Sōsuke. After reading the file, Shiba Iwasu believed it. Because, last time Shiba Ichigo followed Kurosaki Ichigo and others to Seraiti, he naturally learned that Aizen Sōsuke had defected to Soul Society. It's up to you. I usually let you practice the spells of our Shiba family well. You don't want to practice. Now you want revenge. Do you have that strength? In fact, Qian Ye has always been curious. Why Kurosaki Ishin? It seems that he doesn't know the so-called Shiba's spells at all. Possibly, Shiba's spells are too low. Whether it is Kurosaki Ishin rescuing Kuroki Masaki or fighting against Aizen Sōsuke's guinea pig, Arankar. It was Kurosaki Ishin who shot at Karakura town afterwards because his opponent was too high level. Shiba's spells that are too low are not useful, and Kurosaki Ishin hasn't used it from beginning to end. But, Shiba's spells should be quite strong. Otherwise, it is impossible to break through the defense of the Seraiti mask without destroying the Seraiti mask and send Kurosaki Ichigo and others into Seraiti. Shiba Iwaki, who knows the truth, CDEJ, excitedly said. But my brother Shiba Qian was killed indirectly by Aizen Sōsuke. Rukia Kuchiki looked dumbfounded. Shiba Qian was killed indirectly by Aizen Sōsuke. Obviously, Rukia Kuchiki has not read this document. Byakuya Kuchiki was afraid of Rukia Kuchiki, so he went to avenge Aizen Sōsuke, and did not tell Rukia Kuchiki about it. Rukia Kuchiki has been troubled by Shiba Qian for more than 100 years. Byakuya Kuchiki's worries are not unreasonable. Rukia Kuchiki might be impulsive to seek revenge from Aizen Sōsuke. Seeing that Rukia Kuchiki didn't know the real truth, Shiba Iwasu handed the document to Rukia Kuchiki. Rukia Kuchiki was also full of anger after reading it. It turns out that Yoruichi and Urahara Kazuki left Soul Society because of this, and went to live in seclusion in this world. It turns out that Aizen Sōsuke caused all this. Damn it, Aizen Sōsuke, I will not let you go. With your assistance, Rukia Kuchiki and Shiba's family resolved their grievances and received a hidden event reward, Spiritual Power Plus 100. Night, Shiba Kong personally set off a wonderful firework to Qian Ye. This is a privilege that no one else has. Qian Ye was very enjoyable. How? The fireworks in my Shiba's house are well deserved, right? Qian Ye looked at Shiba Kong, who had always come by, and said, Sister Konghei's craftsmanship is really the first in Soul Society. Ha ha ha, if there is nothing wrong with my left hand, I can still set off more beautiful fireworks. Shiba Konghei's left arm was cut off for some reason, and Qian Ye felt a little uncomfortable with that empty arm at this time. Shiba Kong did not wear a prosthesis today for some unknown reason. Qian Ye took out a pill and handed it to Shiba Kong. In order to thank Miss Kong, I saw such a beautiful firework. Please take it. Quote. Shiba Kong accepted the pills, and after looking at the carving curiously, he still didn't see any proper manners. What is this? Qian Ye smiled and said, a tonic can strengthen the body. Sister Kong has consumed a lot of spiritual energy just now, and it just makes up. Then I'm not welcome. Shiba Kong thought that the pill Qian Ye gave her was really a tonic, and she had set off fireworks just now, which indeed consumed a lot of spiritual power. So Shiba Kong immediately swallowed the pills Qian Ye gave her. After Shiba Kong swallowed the pill, he immediately felt that the pill turned into a special spiritual power in her body and kept wandering. She looked at Qian Ye in surprise. Although she didn't understand what Qian Ye gave her, she knew that it was definitely not a tonic. Qian Ye, what on earth did you give me? Qian Ye said, it's just a tonic. Ah, when Shiba Kong questioned Qian Ye, the power of the super repair pill had already begun to take effect. At this time, the special spiritual power made by the super repair pill was gathered on Shiba Core's broken left arm at this moment. Then repair it regenerate. Limb regeneration is a painful thing, and it is a commonplace for lunatics like Kuretsuchi Mayuri. Shiba Kong was in pain at this time, and he kept making dull shouts. Shiba Yanju on the side came over and glared at Qian Ye and said, Captain Qian Ye, my sister kindly showed you fireworks, what are you doing? Jin Yan and Yin Yan also came to Shiba Kong, glaring at Qian Ye. As long as Shiba Kong gave an order, they would act on Qian Ye for the first time regardless of Qian Ye's identity. Rukia Kuchiki looked at Shiba Konghe's painful look, and said, Captain Qian Ye, what are you doing? Qian Ye stared at Shiba Konghe's left arm curiously. The reason why he lied that it was a tonic, was that he was not sure whether the super repair pill could really repair Shiba Konghe's broken arm. Looking at Shiba Konghe's reaction now, Qian Ye found it interesting. Shiba Kong gritted his teeth and said, Research, Jin Yan Yin, you must not be rude, I'll withdraw. But sister, I told you to retreat. Shiba Iwawushi and others stepped aside. Chapter 174, Pet Cat. Yoruichi. 2x. Advertise here. A few minutes later, Shiba Kuzuru's left arm regrown in the stunned Shiba Iwawushi and others. You cured Shiba Konghe's broken arm and received a hidden event reward, Spiritual Power plus 500. Shiba Iwajiu said unbelievably, Sister, this. Shiba Kong was already wet with cold sweat at this time. Obviously, the pain in the process of rebirth of her left arm is definitely not what ordinary people can imagine. Shiba Kong waved her newborn left arm. She felt that all the pain she had just endured was worthwhile. Shiba Kong found her newborn left arm, there is no problem. At this moment, it seemed that his left arm had never been cut off, and it had been growing on her, without any unfamiliar flu. Shiba Konghe's heart was too excited, and the eyes that looked at Qian Ye were full of splendor. Captain Qian Ye, your tonic is too tonic. Qian Ye smiled and said, yeah, it seems to be a bit overfilled. Ha ha ha, but I like it. At this time, how Shiba Iwawushi and others didn't understand. The rebirth of Shiba Konghe's left arm was due to the effect of the pill given by Qian Ye. They were all very curious in their hearts, what kind of pill Qian Ye actually had this effect. And Qian Ye wondered whether the super repair pill could repair Jashiro Yukitaki's lungs taken away by the gods. Whether it can be repaired or not, Qian Ye planned to turn around and let Jashiro Yukitaki try it. And also, can Matsumoto Rangaku's broken soul be repaired? Shiba Yanju came to Qian Ye, holding Qian Ye's hand excitedly, and said, Captain Qian Ye, thank you, I love you to death. Roll. Qian Ye kicked Shiba Iwawushi who wanted to kiss his hand. After being kicked, Shiba Iwajiu was not angry at all, but instead lay on the ground and laughed. Ha ha ha, Shiba Iwawari wanted to give his own arm to her sister. Now Qian Ye reborn his sister's arm. If he were a woman, he might agree with him. Suddenly, Shiba Iwawuji had a strange thought in his heart. He can't agree with his body, but his sister, who has always been single, can. However, Qian Ye seems to be with Captain Unohana of Gotei 13th and 4th Division. Shiba Iwasu feels that her sister is no worse than Unohana Retsu, or let her sister snatch Qian Ye from Unohana Retsu. While Shiba Yanju was thinking about it, Shiba Kong hooked Qian Ye's shoulder and said, Captain Qian Ye, you can stay here tonight and let my Shiba family treat you well. Qian Ye nodded. Later, Shiba's family prepared an unprecedented, sumptuous dinner. After Qian Ye ate and drank enough, he settled in Shiba's house. After Qian Ye fell asleep, a black cat sneaked into Shiba Konghe's room. The next day, when Qian Ye and Rukia Kuchiki were about to leave, Shiba Kong handed a black cat to Qian Ye. Captain Qian Ye, this is the pet cat Yoruichi promised to give you after she lost the competition Shunpo. Meow. The black cat held by Shiba Kong yelled at Qian Ye, a sly flash in his eyes. Shiba Iwawari on the side hesitated to speak but stopped. Shiba Yanju didn't want to remind Qian Ye that the black cat is Yoruichi. Rather, I remembered Qian Ye's reminder to them in the 4th Division. Obviously, Qian Ye knew that the black cat was Yoruichi at that time. Therefore, Shiba Iwawushi wanted to remind her sister. However, Police Shiba Iwa thought for a while and decided to watch the show. Rukia Kuchiki has only been in this world for less than a month. Therefore, I have not seen the black cat form that Yoruichi turns into. Qian Ye saw that Shiba Kong gave him Yoruichi, who was transformed into a black cat, and waved his hand speechlessly. No, I don't like Rua cats. Shiba Sorzaru solemnly said. No, Yoruichi said, I must let you accept this pet cat. Why? Because Yoruichi doesn't want to be regarded as a wordless person by you. A black line appeared on Qian Ye's head. When he compared Shunpo with Yoruichi to place a bet, he didn't expect that Yoruichi would turn into a black cat form, and then use herself as a bet. Let's do it. I will accept this black cat, but I really don't like the Rua cat, so I will give it to the flight attendant. Thank you to the flight attendant last night. Shiba Kong waved her left arm and said, Captain Qian Ye, you have already returned the gift. You must accept this black cat today. ... For flowers. What if I don't accept it? I heard that you and Ujihu are together. Yeah, it's no secret. Shiba Kong has a hint of sly in his eyes. You stayed with me last night, would you say that Ujihu would hear some rumors? What? The black cat held by Shiba Kong secretly grabbed Shiba Kong. Shiba was empty-hearted and decided to fight it out. Captain Qian Ye, after all, I am also a flower. Would you say Captain Ujihu would believe that something unspeakable happened to you last night? A black line appeared on Qian Ye's head. You are threatening me. Captain Qian Ye, you reborn my left arm. It seems understandable for me to do something like that to you in order to repay you. Point 0. Qian Ye said. Sister Air Crane, are you not afraid that I will cut off your left arm again? Qian Ye, anyway, you have to accept this black cat today, and you have to accept it if you don't. Otherwise, even if you cut my left arm, I will let the whole Zaraki know what you did to me last night. Rukia Kuchiki was puzzled. Captain Qian Ye, what did you do to Sister Air Crane last night? Qian Ye said silently, I also want to know what I did last night. Shiba Kong said. What you did last night is determined by whether you accept the black cat. A few hours later, Qian Ye and Rukia Kuchiki returned to Jingling Pavilion together. On Qian Ye's shoulder, a black cat squatted. The black cat had a smug in his eyes. It thought it had deceived Qian Ye, but it didn't know that Qian Ye was his true body long ago. As soon as Qian Ye returned to the 4th Division, Yamada Hanadoro ran up. Captain Qian Ye, you are finally back, the captain is looking for you for something. Oh, I'll be there. Qian Ye looked at the black cat on his shoulder and said, are you going to follow? Meow. After the black cat called, he jumped off Qian Ye's shoulder. Qian Ye met Hitsugaya Toshiro on the way to the first team. Seeing Hitsugaya Toshiro's appearance, it seems that he has to go to another team. Qian Ye. Hitsugaya Toshiro greeted Qian Ye. Hello Captain Hyphantani. Fan. Chapter 175. Emergency. Qian Ye was sent to Karakura Town 1X. Advertise here. Hitsugaya Toshiro always wanted to talk to Qian Ye about Hinamori Momo, but it was a pity that he never had a chance. At this time, Hitsugaya Toshiro was naturally mentioned. Qian Ye, Dao has always been irrational about Aizen Sōsuke. I hope you don't care about her. Qian Ye said, as long as Vice Captain Hinamori Momo doesn't come to trouble me, I won't make a calculation. If Dao Shi did anything offensive to you, please bear with me. For the sake of Captain Hyphantani's face, I agreed. Thanks. Hitsugaya Toshiro's thank you was sincere. Then, Qian Ye and Hitsugaya Toshiro came to a group together and met Yamamoto Yuanyanujai Shigekuni. Yamamoto Motoryu Sai Shigekuni directly opened the door to 550. According to the report from the Technology Development Bureau, the emergence of virtual reality in Karakura Town has become more and more frequent recently. I think it may be a precursor to Aizen Sōsuke's action. Quote. Therefore, I want to send your 2 captains, select some deputy captains, and go to live Karakura Town in advance. Hitsugaya Toshiro was a little excited when he learned that it was against Aizen Kuyusuke. He finally had the opportunity to take action with Aizen Sōsuke. Captain, how many deputy captains can we take? Hitsugaya Toshiro asked. In addition to your 2 captains, let's bring 4 more deputy captains. As for the choice of deputy captain, you 2 decide for yourself. Qian Ye asked, when will we go to this world? The Spiritual Academy is ready to open the barrier gate at any time and send you to the present Karakura town. Captain Hyphantani, then we will choose 2 deputy captains, and then we will gather at the Spiritual Academy an hour later. Good. After an hour, Qian Ye, with a black cat lying on his shoulders, brought the 2 deputy captains to the Spiritual Academy. The 2 deputy captains selected by Qian Ye are Matsumoto Rangaku, the deputy captain of the 5th Division. After Matsumoto Rangaku learned of this, he had to follow anyway, and Qian Ye was not allowed to refuse. The other deputy captain is Katetsu Aizen, the deputy captain of the 4th Division. Unohana Retsu asked Katetsu Aizen to ask Qian Ye how to improve his strength. This time he could have a chance to fight in this world, so Qian Ye chose Katetsu Aizen. A few minutes later, Hitsugaya Toshiro also came to the Spiritual Academy. Following his 2 deputy captains are Hisagi Shuhei, deputy captain of the 9th Division, and Abarai Renji, deputy captain of the 6th Division. Qian Ye was a little surprised when he saw that Hitsugaya Toshiro did not bring Hinamori Momo. But then relieved. Hitsugaya Toshiro is afraid that Hinamori Momo will do something extreme when Hinamori Momo faces him. Then, the people of the Spiritual Academy restricted the Reiatsu of Qian Ye and others. This is convention. But this mission is special, and Soul Society specifically approved it. In case of special circumstances, Qian Ye and others can directly lift the restricted battle without applying to Soul Society. Originally, to go to the present Shinigami, not only the Reiatsu restriction was required, but when the restriction was lifted, it was also necessary to apply to the Soul Society and obtain approval from the Soul Society. Of course, in order for Qian Ye and others to fight Reiatsu, it does not affect the current residents. The Spiritual Academy and Keto people are on standby at all times. Once the news from the Technology Development Bureau that Qian Ye and others lifted the restrictions on Reiatsu, they would immediately arrange Reiatsu isolation settings where Qian Ye and others were fighting. Then opened the door to Karakura Town. This world. Karakura Town. It happened to be night at this time. A door opened out of thin air. 6 figures walked out of the door. These 6 figures are naturally Qian Ye and others. Qian Ye fell on a telephone pole, and his figure looked a little cool in the moonlight. But Qian Ye is cool for only 3 seconds. Because Matsumoto Rangaku also fell towards the telephone pole where Qian Ye was standing. Captain Qian Ye, catch me. Pick you up. Qian Ye slammed and fell to the ground. Cut. Really incomprehensible style. Matsumoto Rangaku complained about falling beside Qian Ye. Subsequently, Katetsu Aizen also fell by Qian Ye's side. Hitsugaya Toshiro, Abarai Renji and Hisagi Shuhei fell on the roof next to them. Hitsugaya Toshiro said, Qian Ye, I am in charge of the eastern half, and you are in charge of the western half. There is no problem, right? Qian Ye nodded. No problem. Then let's go first. Hitsugaya Toshiro finished speaking, taking Abarai Renji and durability, and quickly disappeared from the sight of Qian Ye and others. This is the western half of Karakura Town. So Qian Ye, Matsumoto Rangaku, and Katetsu Aizen can stay here, so there is no need to act in a hurry. Matsumoto Rangaku seemed a little excited. Captain Qian Ye, what are we doing now? Katetsu Aizen looked at Qian Ye quietly. Although she didn't ask instinctively like Matsumoto Rangaku, she was still waiting for Qian Ye's instructions. Qian Ye said, find a place to rest tonight, and make arrangements tomorrow. Qian Ye and others all have Reiatsu receivers in their hands. If there is a virtual presence in the area in charge, Seoul Society's Technology Development Bureau will notify Qian Ye and others through the receiver as soon as possible. Yang Yin, let's go, let's find a place to live. After Katetsu Aizen and Matsumoto Rangaku left, Qian Ye looked at the black cat on his shoulder and said, Yhwach, if you continue to pretend, I will ruin your belly. How do you know it's mine? Qian Ye thought of a suitable reason, and said, although your Reiatsu is disguised, he can't lie to me. Yhwach saw that Qian Ye had seen through her a long time ago and stopped pretending. Oh, Qian Ye looked awkwardly at Yhwach who had changed from a black cat form to a human form. Because, when Yhwach changes from a black cat 4.9 form to a human form, he is nothing. Yhwach didn't seem to mind, and while wearing tight clothes that he didn't know where he took out, he joked Qian Ye. Qian Ye, why are you so surprised? You haven't seen it yet, have you? Qian Ye stared at Yhwach without looking away, and said, cut, you don't have much to look at except that your legs are better and your waist is thinner. Now it was Yhwach's turn to be embarrassed. No matter what Yhwach is, as a woman, when her figure is evaluated, she cares very much. What's more, it is Qian Ye's obviously degrading evaluation. HMPH, I gave myself to you, but you didn't want it. Do you regret me now? Yhwach said, turned around and showed Qian Ye her figure without a trace of fat.